Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
Look up in a back check, kind of like cross-reference.
Yeah, I should put the.
Hey, look that shit up. That's the name of your show.
Yeah,
that's right. What really drew me in.
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. Going. Hope I don't get in trouble for playing that last video. I probably shouldn't have played that shit. I'm always testing the damn waters, bro. That shit gonna get me.
You are now tuned
Who and what are we gonna complain about tonight?
You are now tuned in.
Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así. Mueve, muevo, mueve.
Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hop, hop, jump, skip up on the floor. If they didn't know, then we gon' let them know. Drop low, giving them a show. We gon' give them something that they never seen before. Hop, scotch, 784. Bouncing on the beat while keeping the flow. Stop, watch, freeze and go. Cock-a-doodle-doo is what you eating off the floor. Pop, lock, do it by yourself. You know you the best, you don't need nobody else. Rock, hip, toast to success. You was born a winner, so you never nothing less. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle. When we come through, make you move just a little. Clap, snap, do it from the hip. You can do this whether you stand or sit. Pump, fist, do it with your wrist. Pump it back and forth like you trying to catch a fish. Hip, twist, do a finger kiss. Rocking back and forth as you make your body shift. Top, tick, do it like you sick. 2 + 4 is 6, and that's a ripper thick. Top, 6, we gon' let it rip. We got your attention and we not gon' let it slip. So hands up, move your head and know what's up. Now it's shoulders rolling while you showing them your stuff. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Make you move just a little, just a little, just a little, just a little.
Yeah, this is what it is. It's what it is. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I done played the block and it's time to stop. Pop the blocks, then drop the top. But I have to say fuck the cops. They keep it hot up on my block. Keep it not up in my pocket. You know the G and it can't be stopped. Flip the script with serving dip. Keep the heat on Silent Hill. You know when I know that pure water just so cold. Riding on boats, slamming wood dough. Sipping on drinking, fucking these hoes. Riding on boats, pushing kilos. Me and my boys ball out of control. Got so much ice you can balance Super Bowl. Me, Lil G, I can't me hoe. Look at my mouth, see number gold. Fucking with a knife, we'll make you fold. Look at my room, see number polo. Step in the bed and in the studio. Over your nose, the smell of smoke. Over your mouth, it's start to blow. Now you know we got that dope. Me and my boys ball out of control. We keyed up and G'd up. We should've loud straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Loud things going big, I'm fucked up. Nigga, we keyed up and G'd up. Once you loud straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Loud things going back, I'm fucked up. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle.
Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. Bustin' up, bustin' back with a gap that spits venom, you sitting black. And when the bottom of the knife and it smack, Iblis,
the cat's waxing them back.
Cause he ain't suffered enough, hustled enough, scuffling cuff his hand to a cop, nothing discussed, cutting his nuts to his cock. Something to shock a spark out your heart when you stop jogging in the park. And you meet a nigga dog that fighting ball, blood spilling on the sidewalk. Staying in the light is smart, despite staying on course, of course, cause the smell of death escaping out of corpse is rough. Top half man, and I be damned if they bottom half horse. Hush, lost souls rushing to touch the black hole, wishing to be dust gagging and fuss, cause the demon face leaking pus.
All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. Trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. All trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. All
You are now tuned in
Lil G,
to the style
KC, real.
Bambino.
Sit by myself,
And I think about my life,
and I think about my past.
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
When I sit by myself,
And I think about my life,
and I think about my past.
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future
Hey,
shine.
damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine. Been building since '96. It's been a trip. Just trying to survive in this bitch. And you wonder why I wear a frown every time I turn around. Dumber and dumber trying to pull me down. All my niggas screaming, just get up out of H-Town. But I ain't. This is where I make my bank. Plus I got unfinished business with a skank. G's be my witness. I'ma hit hard as a tank. I can't stop Casey the prophet, God of the day. I trust the game with a case for being fake, for I hate all of y'all, and I'm willing to eliminate anyone up in my way. Sinning, living in the belly of the beast, predator and prey. Either get ate, pray you ain't the next nigga on my plate. Hey,
I be like, damn, my future shy. That's why I let all my anger out when I get up on the mic. They say life is what you make it, but shit, that's like rolling dice, man. Let me tell you something, man. Life ain't all night. People be like, man, that's Grammy, man, but that shit is right. Let me tell you something. You tell them the truth, they be like, that ain't right. But shit, life is shy. It's like putting up with a fight. If you fuck with me and can't see, we'll punch out your life. When I sit by myself,
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
When I sit by myself,
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Damn, my future shy.
Hey, damn, my future shy.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist. Don't take our word for it. Look that mess up, please. Yeah, man, another day. Another day. We back on the grind. Hardest working content producer out there. Anyways, that's how I like to think of myself. Anyways, this stuff is not easy, man. Trying to come up with content all the time and just coming on regularly is difficult. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of people wouldn't even be able to do that part. Anyways, so it's kind of like how people scoff at somebody who is supposed to have expert opinion. So the name of the show today is Your Opinion is Not Valid. And, you know, it's not just a shout out to everybody saying that your opinion is not valid, because sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. That's the thing, you know. And I feel like when we're having regular conversations, a lot of times, like, people like to have conversations where they feel like their opinion is valid, you know. So, like, when it's something about music, like what music is good, or a singer's singing ability or whatever, you know, or talking about sports and, you know, a trade that you wouldn't have done, like a trade you think would have been better, or which player should play which position and stuff like that, you know. So those are the kind of situations where people have their opinions, you know, and they feel like their opinions are valid, right? You know, those are those situations where, you know, everybody can have an opinion on it, right? So, but then there's other situations though that people, that if you don't know anything about the topic, then then that's when your opinion is not valid. Like when they were talking about the CRT, and everybody was all like trying to give their, you know, thoughts on CRT, and then when a guy comes on TV and this guy's been literally studying the stuff and try to tell people what it is, and then they trying to tell him what it is, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about at all. Those are the situations where your opinion is not valid. But the challenge is knowing, though, right? The challenge is knowing when your opinion is valid and when it isn't. And in the society that we live in, you know, the corporations want you to feel like, you know, your opinion is valid all the time. You know, customer is always right, sort of thing. You know, the customer is not always right, and your opinion is not always valid. You know, the more you know about a subject. So what if somebody came, like whoever's listening, like, you know, everybody knows a lot about something, you know, like maybe you know a lot about fishing, you know, maybe you know a lot about, I don't know, tying knots. But then somebody comes along and then they try to tell you about the knots, and you're like, and they clearly don't know what they're talking about. Because when you have a conversation about knots with someone that knows about knots, y'all both are going to be enjoying it. It's going to be great. Y'all are going to be talking about knots, and both of y'all are going to be enjoying it and giggling. But when the person comes in the conversation, the one that wants to talk about knots and he doesn't know about knots, here comes the tension, because one person in the conversation is unaware of their ignorance. And it's really difficult to tell someone that, you know, like, bro, can we just stop? So what happens is the person that knows about knots, and then the guy that comes around that doesn't know about knots, and he's trying to have the conversation with him about it. What happens is the guy that knows about knots, he's going to change the conversation, like, just to keep the tension from going high. That's frustration every day.
Well, Elon Musk said in June that he was leaning towards supporting Ron DeSantis in 2024. This probably had Trump fuming, and he took his shot when he made this comment.
Elon, you know, he said the other day, oh, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bull.
Donald Trump got so heated, he said, why should Elon be able to back out of a deal?
So help me God, and you strike me dead.
Yeah, you know it's bad when you get kicked off a platform and then you're supporting the platform that kicked you off. I expect this to continue up until 2024. To stay informed, subscribe to this channel. So why?
Yeah, so I wonder what's going to happen with the Elon Musk and Twitter thing. So, like, they're saying that he's trying to back out of the deal and they're going to have to sue him to go forward. Like, what is going on? Like, was that his plan all along? Like, I know he signs big deals like this all the time. You got to know that you can't just back out of it. And why would he want to? And he said something about them not disclosing information. Maybe that's what it is. Like, and if that's the truth, then that would get him out of the contract and they wouldn't be able to sue him, because if they left out information or they misled him on some of the data before he made the purchase, then that nulls the contract. But that's what he's saying. But if they're saying they're going to sue him to finish, then it makes me wonder, is it true that, maybe he just wants to back out for whatever reason? Maybe it was all just like publicity, but you tying up a whole bunch of money. Well, I guess if you got a bunch of money, it doesn't matter about money being tied up, huh? Yeah, but for the rest of us, having a whole bunch of money tied up in a deal that could go or couldn't go, or you're trying to back out of and they're trying to sue you for, Lord knows how long it would take. I don't know. That don't sound like a good situation. It says, what happens when you do this pose for a few minutes a day? Malasana opens your hips and groin, stretches your ankles, lower hamstrings, back and neck, tones your abdominals, aids in digestion, and keeps your pelvic and hips joint healthy. Ideal for prenatal yoga. It's probably good for digestion too, that position. Anyways, I would talk about that. But our crazy world with the toilets and the toilet paper and the positions that we are in when we're pooping, and nobody wants to talk about that. But it's like there is some negative effects as a result of, I don't know, what some people would call progression. But I don't know if that's really true, that we really progressing. I don't know. Maybe we have some really cool gadgets, though. I want to talk about the housing crisis and so forth and so on. Try to wait for people to get in here. My title might have scared everybody off. I'm not trying to pick on anybody today. Wasn't the point of the title. Man, it's frustrating. It really is to be on here. I'm competing with all of this really dumb stuff that's on the internet. Nobody wants to take the time to read anything or learn anything new, or even go outside of their algorithm or their little bubble. They all want to feel like they're right. So if something tells them they're, but see, they shouldn't even be looking at it like that, that they're right or wrong. But that's the way they're looking at it. So you're trying to say I'm wrong. No, I'm trying to educate you about something that you don't know anything about. It's not a right or wrong. It's more about actual what's happening and what's not. And there goes the opinion that's not valid when a person is, Anyways, let's play this.
GYN physician followed state law, which requires her to report that she performed an abortion on a 10-year-old girl who was a victim of rape. The girl traveled from Ohio, where most abortions are illegal once there is cardiac activity, usually at 6 weeks. Yesterday, Dr. Bernard tweeted, "My heart breaks for all survivors of sexual assault and abuse. I am so sad that our country is failing them." Elizabeth Nash works for an abortion rights group.
That the best thing for a sexual assault survivor who needs an abortion is not an abortion ban.
Since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Ohio is one of at least 9 states which make no exceptions for rape or incest. In Indiana, abortions are still legal up to 22 weeks.
How concerned are physicians now about
potentially being in legal jeopardy.
Well, they're incredibly concerned because more than anything, providers want to provide care.
The girl's case sparked international attention after President Biden made reference to it as he signed an executive order to protect access to abortions.
10 years old, raped, 6 weeks pregnant, already traumatized, was forced to travel to another state.
Yesterday, 27-year-old Gerson Fuentes was arraigned in Ohio for allegedly raping the girl. Tonight, the Indiana doctor's lawyer released a statement saying, quote, "My client, Dr. Caitlin Bernard, took every appropriate and proper action in accordance with the law and both her medical and ethical training as a physician. She followed all relevant policies, procedures, and regulations in this case." The attorney says they are considering legal action to clear her name. Nora?
Elaine Cajano, thank you.
Tonight, Indiana's Republican Attorney General Todd Rokita.
It's a sad story. It's really sad that people are making it so political instead of looking at the facts of what's happening in our country. You know, the division, the fighting. You know, or is this progression? I don't really care about that. I'm so tired of hearing about that. I'm not even gonna mention it. It says, sometimes I just want someone to hug me and say, I know it's hard. You're going to be okay. Here is chocolate and $6 million. Yeah, I think I'd be pretty good after that, too. Uh, 10-year challenge. Thailand said to allow chemical castration of sex offenders. What is chemical castration? Oof, I don't want to know. Man, that's a good way to start a fire. I would know. He can't possibly like you for who you are if he's never really met you. I can't play that. It might get me. Timberland.
Most economic analysts believe that it will have a temporary or transitory impact.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great, you know.
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
Transitory.
And the data shows that most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary. There's nobody suggesting there's unchecked inflation on the way. It's highly unlikely that's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand. I don't know anybody who's worried about inflation.
Over the last couple of months, we actually saw it trended downward.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, et cetera, are high-class problems.
What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Well, the number one thing that the president can do is help get COVID under control. That we know is the root cause of inflation.
President Biden this afternoon saying he thinks we're at the peak of the crisis right now and that lower prices are on the way.
The inflation has everything to do with the supply chain. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin. I'm going to do everything I can.
I really doubt that we're going to see an inflationary cycle.
Most economic analysts believe that it will have a temporary or transitory impact.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great, you know.
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
Whatever, they will be talking about it. It's always after the fact. Like we have a reactionary everything. Even our like law enforcement is like it's all just punitive. It's all after the fact. We don't really have any kind of like programs that like deter, like really. I mean, we do have deterrents, but those deterrents are the punitive measures. We don't have a real like trying to go at things in a way to keep us from getting to a point where we have to deal with a certain thing. We just deal with it afterwards and punish them. I know you're not hearing me. There's nobody hearing me. Talking to myself. This is my therapy. Yeah. I want to get into the stuff about the housing crisis. That's kind of what I want to talk about today, and tying it to the global events. This is what I was looking for right here. Let's play this first. Yeah, because it's funny, man. If you just listen, they actually tell you what the fuck. It's just, and then they come back and say something different, and they hope you'd forget.
We're going to give $40 billion to Ukraine because we want to look all fancy with our blue and yellow ribbons.
Our politicians, and I've covered some of this, but our politicians are increasingly admitting that this is a proxy war. This is a war between the U.S. and Russia, and the U.S. is willing to fight this while Ukrainians die. Ukrainians have their lives destroyed, and this in no way defends Russia's actions. Okay? I don't know the truth on the ground any more than most of you probably do, because we know our media is lying about it. In fact, our government has admitted that they're lying about a lot of it, which was a change in what they normally do. They've admitted that they're going on false or faulty intel. And so our government's admitted they're lying to you. Our media is just reporting what our government says, so they're lying to you. So I don't know the truth on the ground. But in any war, I'm assuming a lot of innocent people get killed, and a lot of the society gets destroyed, and it's fucking horrific. And so I'm not defending Russia's action. I've said I'm against the invasion from the beginning. But you also have to understand that this could end today if it weren't for the U.S. The U.S. is keeping it going, wants to keep it going as long as possible, and that is, it's a fucking war crime, and it is killing all of these innocent civilians. So I'm against all the oligarchs because I want to be part of a class war. I want to fight against the oligarchs. I don't care if they're the oligarchs in some other country, but I'm an American in America covering American news, so that's why I focus on that. This is a video put together by Frederick Danielson. He goes by, he's a member of leecamp.net over there, so you could go over there and talk to him, chat with him. He goes by Freda77 over there, or Freda, I think it's Freda, Freda 77 on at my locals page. So if you want to hit him up and chat with him about this. But anyway, he said I could use this video, a compilation of our top politicians and media talking heads admitting in one way or another that this is a proxy war, that this is not Russia versus Ukraine. This is U.S. versus Russia while Ukrainians die.
The United States aids Ukraine and her people so that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here.
So that was Adam Schiff, one of the main Democrats, just admitted in that part of the video that we're fighting Russia there so we don't fight them here, meaning this is a proxy war.
Look, I'm going to support it because it's the right thing to do for Ukraine. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of politics involved, and there will be domestic debates here at home about other policies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we've got to realize we're at war. And we're not just at war to support the Ukrainians. We're fundamentally at war, although it's somewhat through proxy, with Russia, and it's important that we win.
And it's important that we win. But what's we winning look like? Well, it looks like what? Just letting a bunch of Ukrainians, thousands of Ukrainians die on our behalf? That's what it looks like? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? These fucking clowns. I mean, they're admitting that it'd be like admitting that we're gonna nuke Ukraine because then we'll take away stuff for Russia. We'll take away the resources from Russia. Like, oh, go ahead, just nuke Ukraine so that Russia doesn't get it. I mean, in many ways, it's the equivalent. These people are war criminals. They're horrific. And yet, who's called like liars Who at the beginning were called fucking, propagandists? It's people like me who said this was a proxy war from the beginning.
When I hear the majority leader of the other party say, quote, a time of war, when I sat with the majority leader in a rules committee meeting upstairs and he said, we're at war, and I'm wondering when we voted to go to war. If we're going to have a proxy war and we're going to give $40 billion to Ukraine because we want to look all fancy with our blue and yellow ribbons, feel good about ourselves, maybe we should actually have a debate in this chamber, a debate in this body, because the American people expect us to do that. When the border of this country is wide open and cartels have control of it and fentanyl is pouring in and we have $30.5 trillion of debt and gas prices are spiking and $1,100 to fill a tank of diesel, and we go, oh, blank check, $40 billion. And by the way, I'm looking at my colleagues on this side of the aisle on that same point.
That's one of these Republicans who is completely right on Ukraine, right? Yeah, same with like Tucker Carlson or something. But we're now in a world where these Republicans who are repugnant, awful human beings who act like an immigrant is gonna, just destroy your life and, an immigrant coming from a country that we've destroyed, that we created a coup and put in a dictator and fucking destroyed their lives, that them coming here is the end of the world. These type of Republicans they're garbage on so many issues. And then they're correct on Ukraine, correct on Russiagate being a joke. We are in such a fucking upside down era where the Democrats have gone so far to the right that they're unrecognizable. And the Republicans now, not all of them, but some of the Republicans now are the ones on the left militarily. Militarily, it's some of these Republicans and fucking Tucker Carlson's the only one on mainstream media saying, yeah, we shouldn't be in Ukraine. Yeah, it's a proxy war. Yeah, you're fucking out of your mind to be doing this. Yeah, we're sending $40 billion to Ukrainians while people die from healthcare debt here in the U.S. But at the same time, those same people, that Republican, Tucker Carlson, any of these people, they're making up lies about, lies about police are just doing the best they can, and they have to kill 1,000 people a year. Or police have been defunded when they haven't at all. Or immigrants, it's open borders. But now we just have open borders. Our borders are just open. When in fact, our borders are, first of all, as sealed as they've ever been. There's more security on our borders than there's ever been. Furthermore, you've got people fucking in cages, kids in cages, kids getting deported, families getting torn apart, Biden deporting more people than Trump did, ICE destroying people's lives, and ICE has not been around forever. So the idea that our borders are open is fucking laughable. How do you end up in a world where the so-called liberal party is pro-military and the so-called right-wing party is just saying we're spending too much on military? Well, you end up in that world when these parties don't actually mean anything. They're meaningless. So throwing a label on it, the Democrats are good, and the Republicans are throwing a label on it, does nothing. It does nothing but help keep Americans in line. It does nothing but get certain Americans who are falling for this shit. They go, I have to vote Republican because Democrats are going to take away my right to shoot a grenade launcher at my neighbor. And then Republicans are saying, I have to vote, or Democrats are saying, I have to vote Democrat because Republicans are going to take away my right to fucking get gay married in the middle of a gay parade or whatever the fuck. Like, it's all bullshit. And these parties don't mean anything. And they agree on 90% of the structural issues of this country, but we're told that they completely define reality. And our entire reality, our entire possible thoughts that could come in a human head, all are encapsulated in these two parties. It's so fucking ridiculous.
The reality is there's no imminent threat to the safety, security, and freedom of the United States coming to us from Russia. In fact, there's no imminent threat or even long-term threat of Russia invading Finland or Sweden. Russia can barely hold on to a very small sliver of Ukraine right now. So again, I ask these leaders, what is the rush? What we do know is that the Biden administration has failed to clearly define any objective in this proxy war in Ukraine. They've failed to define what winning looks like. So clearly there is no end in sight without that being defined. We can look at Afghanistan and Iraq as very recent examples of what happens when you don't have that clearly defined mission. And so the American people were struggling with high inflation, basic necessities that people need to live, costs increasing, and yet with this $40 billion of funding and what will come next and next and next, the American people deserve to know what this will cost us financially, what it will cost our economy, and what it will cost our national security with the increased potential of a nuclear conflict if this is allowed to continue.
As you saw there, she's saying it's a proxy war, which is kind of the point of this video. These are all American politicians and media heads saying this is a proxy war so that you know it's fucking true. It's not like it's just me anymore. It's not like it's just some independent.
What's up, Pat? How you feeling, man?
Sure, feeling pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Another day, another dollar, right?
Yeah. I guess we can use that term.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. This dude sounds like he's like whining and about to lose his freaking all his toys.
Yeah. So, what do you think about any of the stuff like that he said or whatever so far?
Well, I mean, you know, for the most part, I usually like the stuff that he's saying, but I mean, for him to say that Russia barely is keeping a hold on what's going on in Ukraine, and that you know, like Russia has so much support from, because I mean, you know, yeah, you know, and the U.S. has a lot of support. People just back, because I mean, really, it is America fighting Russia through a different lens. Okay, we all get that, proxy war. But the people that's backing Russia are the fucking power hitters, like the people who really, you know, got the freaking money in the world. Like, it's endless.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you know, try to bark up that tree, try to act as if, you know, at any time America can just go in, because America is already in Russia, or, you know, well, not in Russia, but, you know, they're the ones that's actually, you know, support. We're the ones who's actually supporting this whole thing in Ukraine, and not doing a good job either, because Ukraine is pretty much demolished.
Yep, and the war is pretty much over, but they keep pumping that money in there, and that's what's keeping it going. So sad.
It's so stupid. They ain't just sad. It's just freaking stupid. And, you know, yeah, I mean, when we only have a two-party system and we got people that saying, you know what, I cannot deal with the whole Democratic bullshit. I mean, you know, and really, I mean, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, no matter who you vote for, you're screwed, because, like, everybody's got some bullshit agenda that's not for the people. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to change shit for us. You know, it's stuff that, you know, is for us to, you know, I guess to satisfy a little bit. You know, the Republicans are probably going to be so, you know, conservative enough to where we're able to eat too. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being as greedy as the Democrats, but still in all, everybody's on some bullshit agenda that isn't really pointed directly at us and fixing our lives as as Americans. Because I mean, there's like, nobody should ever be hungry, nobody should ever be homeless, nobody, like, you know what I'm saying, housing and all this stupid shit that, you know, medical, like, Americans above anybody should have the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if our GDP is the highest, we're making the most money.
Ghislaine Maxwell just got put away for 20 years.
So
she was supplying kids for all these fucking people.
My bad. I was trying to get that ready, but I couldn't find the stop
Yeah, I want to talk. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that bullshit too.
Yeah. You sent this to me. That's why I was gonna play it. But go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, man, we're dealing with some really insane times and some very confused people. Cause like us as a people, the Americans, you know, we want to do the right thing. I think overall we all want to do the right things, but when you're listening to sources that are purposely giving you information that's gonna
Mislead
send
you.
you, yeah, it's kind of hard. And like for whatever reason people love fucking CNN. I just like I
Well, I
don't
mean, you could
freaking
say the same for Fox or MSNBC. I
well
mean, I don't.
well yeah, all I mean really all of them, but
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell. I used to watch. So I ain't gonna say what the hell. But now that I've grown, I don't see what the hell. Like I wish, there's good information you could get from any of those networks, but once you've grown like into the, what's going on in the world, it becomes so redundant watching, the major news shows, because they're all saying the same shit, and it's like you've heard it 1,000 times. Like you're not getting nothing. You're not really getting any new information. Regurgitated shit.
There's no real aha moments in mainstream media.
Yeah, and mostly they're telling you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And mostly they're entertaining you. So, and that's what I was talking about. The name of the show is Your Opinion's Not Valid, and it's like the idea of like, people don't want to feel like they're wrong, right? So then that's what keeps them from learning too, though. But again, going back to the media, they tell you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? It's like the TV shows that you watch, they make you feel smart. You know what I mean? They always say the catchy line that you was waiting for them to say. So,
Yeah. Well, the main thing I think is like they tell enough lies to keep you feeling secure. But with everything that's going on around you, we're everything but secure. So it's like, okay, and only the naive is really falling for it. If you have a tad bit of common sense and a little bit of time to just think to yourself, you probably will, see maybe not exactly what's really going on, because we know, like, I mean, it's some bullshit, but you at least know shit ain't right.
Yeah, well, the naive must be a whole bunch of people, man.
Oh, it's a bunch. No, it's the majority. It's the majority, because, like I said, I mean, it's not like there's very few of us that really looking at it from trying to see it from different angles. Like, there's people that's gonna just only be on Fox. There's some that's only gonna be on CNN, and the some that the ones that's just gonna be on MSNBC. And these are all the people who are, for the most part, you have different sound, like alarms that's rung on different of those different channels. But at the same time, I mean, it's still kind of they're all still in concert with each other.
Yep, because they're really saying the same story, but they might just come at it at a different angle. But the result of like your thinking is going to be very similar, because there ain't no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, really. There's no difference between MSNBC and Fox, really. It's an illusion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and I think for the most part, I mean, a lot of people are waking up, but my question is to what? Because there's some people just now realizing that we can't trust our government. I'm like, what? Tell me something, like, because I'm like, okay, so this is a great new idea that I'm hearing from you. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, it doesn't matter what they say. That's what they're going with, and that's what they believe. So I mean, I guess I'm proud that at least. I mean, you might be a Johnny come lately, but at least you're there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I
don't know. Worshiping these people and feeling like, the person that's sitting next to you's opinion has no value versus, Tucker Carlson, because he's on TV. So his opinion is more valid than anyone else's, because, he has a lot of people watching him on TV.
Yeah, and I mean, but there's a lot of people who are sympathizers, and pretty much will explain away a lot of the fucked up shit that's going on in America, and forget the chain of things that has to happen for it to be allowed.
Yeah, for things to get to where they are now. Like nothing just like happened overnight. We didn't just wake up and land where we are right now.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, like, how can you even, I get it, like, yeah, a lot of people are raised a certain way and this, that, and the other. Like I was raised in the same kind of way as most people were, where I'm, especially for Black people, where we see the world a certain way. We're actually conservatives, but we believe that these liberals are on our side. And of course, there's some, like, I mean, like I said, there's really no winning with this party. I think even like the way it is, the way the system is built up, even if they had 3 or 4 different parties, I mean, they're just all gonna team up and try to use. Like, I really feel like they would all just find a way to just,
because
like,
they benefit. So they
they're
benefit
leaning,
from the.
they're leaning toward libertarianism. All right, well, we're gonna send somebody over that direction that's on team
Exactly.
us.
Yes,
it's team us, but
they're gonna represent the libertarians.
Exactly.
Yeah. So damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say, because yeah, they're on the same team, really. The system, they all benefit from the way things are. So those people don't want things to change. Like, we all talking about drastic change, like revolution change. These people don't want that. They don't know what that's gonna look like. They good the way things are right now. Why you want to go and change things? I'm good. My family eating good. Everybody good.
But I mean, like, for me, I had a cousin that was on Skid Row. So I mean, I kind of know what it was like. I mean, of course, he was having he was struggling with drugs. I mean, his life has changed drastically now. But like, it's just really a lot of things that's happening in America that I feel is so systematic that our government has to do something to change those woes. Like it's their fault that it happened. Like, it systematically. So
I think whether it was their fault or not, it's gonna be people up on the. It's gonna be looking like Sri Lanka.
It's their job anyway. So I mean, yeah, they might as well come up with something to, actually fix this, whole situation.
Or it's gonna be looking like Sri Lanka. Let me play this.
Pedos, right? Where's the list? Is that just gets like, I don't know.
Kind of weird that got no coverage, but Johnny Depp and Amber was
everywhere. Yeah, and I'm like, so the list of, politicians and actresses and actors or whatever that they talked about, does that get swept under the rug? Do they not get any time for actually fucking those kids? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, that's weird how that just doesn't compute with me.
Great question.
Ghislaine Maxwell just got put away for 20 years. So she was supplying kids for all these fucking pedos, right? Where's the list? Is that just gets like?
Yeah.
Well, so there's a couple of different angles, because it's like, they're hate for Black people, because I mean, because this is different conversations that I've seen. Of course, if we look directly at just this whole idea, like, we have not seen the list of people that is on her, that in her her this book of all the people that come through the island. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the reason. Like the Epstein killed himself, and you know whatever deal she made with somebody for her to take 20 years, and she probably won't do the 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like before you know it, they're saying she's getting transferred to another prison, and she's back on the island chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, and honestly, I feel like the crimes that she committed is probably worse than what what's his name? What's shit. What's the singer? That the pedophile. Oh well, I say pedophile, but the singer that just got sentenced to 30 years, the one
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. Like man, I don't. I think her and Epstein's crimes were way worse than R. Kelly's, because I mean they like were like totally human trafficking. You know, they like, and then the ring is probably pretty big, and that's also some shit that was connected to Prince Philip and all these different, like all these elected officials that somehow this list is not coming out no more. So I don't know, bro. Like
I think the question of where's the list is a pretty damn good question. It's a pretty valid question.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, where is this list? Because I mean, there was supposedly different lists that popped up on the internet, but you know, of course, they can, you know, give reason or excuse. Because I mean, for whatever reason, there's a lot of people. Because I don't give a damn if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. If this is what you're doing to children, just so that you can either get, you know, a drug out of their blood, whether you're trying to steal their organs or trying to have sex with them, all are pretty damn gruesome.
I bet if Julian Assange wasn't in jail, the list would have came out. You know what I'm saying? It would have got leaked by somebody. But look. If somebody was to leak it right now, what do you think would happen? You think that the people's names that's on the list would go to jail, or do you think the people who leaked it would go to jail?
I mean, that's a good question, because I mean, you know, when the whole thing with the guy that leaked that, what was that, the Verizon, you know, all what they were doing with our phones and all that, and he ended up having to run to Russia or some shit. I mean, he became the criminal.
Oh, you talking about Snowden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it would be like the same kind of deal, like they always do. I mean, they always, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they will always make it not them.
Yeah, because like Julian Assange came out with that stuff and criminalizing Hillary Clinton and people and stuff, and none of them people got in trouble, but they about to extradite. They're about to extradite Julian Assange back to the States right now on some espionage shit.
She gonna get suicided. That's
Well, he's been fighting hard to not come back to the States, because yeah, he's in danger big time if he gets shipped over here.
Man, it's really messed up, because I mean, like, you know,
he was the WikiLeaks. He was the founder of WikiLeaks. So the main thing that got him in trouble was the stuff about Hillary Clinton, the stuff that came out right before the election.
No.
Right?
This was before that. No, this was
No, but he released a bunch of shit.
Obama was in office. Yeah, I think it had some kind of wiki connection, or it was just some files or something that came out about how, things that they were not supposed to be doing with our information, but they were doing it anyway. Like they were,
Well, remember all the stuff when Hillary Clinton and she burned her freaking mainframe.
That's
and
not
all
the
that.
same dude. No, that's not the same dude. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know if there's a certain dude connected directly to that. It was, whatever come through. Yeah, the wiki, because this was before the whole wiki thing with Snowden. Obama was still in office. Like this was a whole thing. Like this was before.
Well, WikiLeaks been dropping shit for the longest, because I want to say when they did Occupy Wall Street.
Snowden did what he did when Obama was in office. I remember that.
Yeah. I remember that clearly too. So I mean, it didn't have anything to do with the emails. That stuff we had nothing. We had, because I mean, potentially that could have been a part of it, but I don't think it was. I think this was like mostly about what they were doing with our phones and how they were tapping us and.
Yeah, that's Snowden. But I'm talking about Julian Assange. Julian Assange was the one who released the emails. The Hillary Clinton emails.
Okay. Well, and I'm gonna tell you, like, a lot of people won't really there's a lot of people that don't believe this whole idea, like this, like, because there's this thing, what they call it, the fact checkers. Just because these fact checkers say that it's not true that any of this Pizzagate stuff happened, or that there's no big ring of people of wealthy people doing this to children and this, like, people won't believe it because they're so hypnotized by the mainstream media, and they don't, I guess they don't want to accept that a lot of people will turn the eye because they don't want to hear the truth. Like, they don't want to have to deal with the truth. So I don't think that people really want to accept the fact that this is something that's actually happened. Like, I mean, you have to, like, I'm like, okay, so all these people, all these kids that's come up missing since the 80s, or really probably since before that, because it's probably only grown and gotten bigger. The appetite's gotten bigger since then. But just think about all the people, all of the missing persons that just happened since just 60s and 70s or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are these kids? Like, if they just were wandering, and they just, like, they would have been back home by now, right? Like, they're trading these children all across the world, bringing people from the other side of the world back here. I mean, like, that's the trade. Like, the slave trade hadn't stopped, but they're doing it.
They need fresh, warm, hot bodies.
I think you've got no idea.
Yeah, and then but then there was people that got caught by the U.S. Marshals too, that they had been trading, certain like when they got caught because they had, I guess, rented one of the girls out to somebody, and it got caught up in, like, bro, there's a lot of information that it's, unless you read, you're not gonna see it. You know what I'm saying? They come up in news articles. Like, the news is not gonna tell you a lot of this stuff because, like, it's alarming. I'm sure that there's people would be way more freaked out and scared to go places than they do, because if they actually heard it. But at the same time, like, pick up a new look, just like find a news, like, you can go online,
and look at missing people. You could just type in missing persons or something like that. statistics.
Well, no, I
or something.
mean, no, you can look up U.S. Marshals pedophile, or like put certain searches together to pull up these different stories about what they're actually finding. Because especially while Trump was in office, there was a lot of stories that came out, stuff that happened in Ohio, things that was happening in Texas, where they like actually catching public officials that was involved in some of these things. So lawyers and like people that's high up in these areas that were getting arrested. So, okay, that's a lot of, and then some of these people that was like on the lower end that got caught with along with them, that has had charges before that they had to have known about. So it's like you have these connections with these people that's known pedophiles, and here you are getting caught up with them. Like, I mean, it's a trail. Like, how you got to put these pieces together and be able to use common sense to say, hey, yeah, no, this is not no, just some random. Oh, this just happened. No, this is conspired. This is stuff that's been happening. Like the shit that's going down in Orlando. Like, bro, oh my God, Atlanta. Like, I'm sure even Houston, like all of the international, like if there's an international airport, there's a big ring of human trafficking going on.
I bet. This is another one you sent me. Let me play this.
Yeah, what disinformation is, and I don't think the government's capable of it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech. You think we can't determine, speech by traffickers is disinformation? You think the American people are so stupid they need you to tell them what the truth is? You can't even admit what the truth is with the Steele dossier. I don't trust government to figure out what the truth is. Government is largely disseminating disinformation.
It's but I actually saw that actual, like, that's a clip that I just saw on YouTube, like one of the reels, but I actually saw that online with it was, who did the recording of that thing? Because you can find it on YouTube, the whole.
It's probably C-SPAN.
Well, I think C-SPAN probably does it too, but I watch it through something else on YouTube. I don't know. I'll think of it later, but bro, this dude be going in on them, and it's like really just common sense shit. But they were actually trying to change, like they were trying to put in place these a whole organization that's supposed to be, tell you what the truth is and what the truth isn't. So, like, they were going to be like the rulers of truth. And it's like, all right, he's asking him, okay, so how is it that you determine these things that you're going to be, I guess, reporting and saying whether they're true or not, blah, blah, blah. And, just simple little stuff. And, I mean, it totally makes sense. Like, I think if it wasn't for him and his line of questioning, they would have this office, because this is something that Biden came up with, because, like, he's been having trouble with people trusting him. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well, they did put the disinformation board together. It just fell apart right afterwards.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that they were trying to form it, but because of this board that came about and had the questioning about it, is why we don't have one now, because it's stupid. Like, I mean, we're gonna trust you of all people to tell us, what I'm saying, like, what the truth is and what the lie is. Like you already have you know a heavy player in that, which is called the media, to try to tell us what the truth is and what
Well, so do you
what
think that
what to believe and what not to believe.
do you think that Trump would do a better job, or DeSantis, or Abbott, or I don't know, Hillary Clinton,
Well, I think
Bush?
honestly, I mean, a lot of them,
Obama?
a lot of them have gotten to the. I think they just like, okay, people gonna think what they think anyway. Like right now, like Biden has gotten to the point where he's like he wants to force it down your throat. Like he's almost like a communist to me. Like you gonna take this freaking whatever I say and you gonna love it.
That's the Democrats, anyways. That's the damn neoliberals, anyways.
But I'm just saying, like, I mean, he is hardcore, and a lot of people are starting to see it more on a wide, but that for a lot of people, this is like really confusing to them because it's like, well, I can't vote for a Republican even if I'm just proving to the Democrats they got to get their act together. No, like, bro, like you can't show too much loyalty to either side. Like that's been one of our problems, especially for black people, is that there's different people who like they haven't like the Republicans. You haven't really given them a chance in over 100 years, so they're like, okay, well, this is not the people that I really work for, or that that support me, and I got to support these other people who actually voted for me. And the Democrats have been on the position where, well, yeah, we're gonna, we're gonna Social Security. Oh yeah, medical. We're gonna, yeah, we got your back. And for whatever reason, they never it never comes together. And when it does, guess what? It's been a Republican bill that actually makes it. So it's kind of like, huh? Looks like these Republicans can get shit done. Because really the Democrats can get shit done, but they're so selfish to where they're using all the energy to get their own just whatever agenda they're trying to get done worldwide, because it looks like they're willing to give up our sovereignty as a country to foreigners and the power to foreigners than to the people who actually live here. Like they don't
It's
seem
so
to be
crazy
obligated.
because look at all the money they just sent to Ukraine. They just sent some more money to Ukraine again.
They seem to have no obligations to us, but all the obligations to any and everybody else in the world. Because I mean, you look at Israel, how many billions they get every year, and they don't even have to cry for it. They get their shit on time every month. I mean, however often they do it.
Yes,
You know
I
what I'm
think it's
saying?
yearly. Yeah.
So I mean, like,
I
all
bet you a
these
lot of the American public don't even know that. And that's American United States tax dollars. That's that money. That kind of shit should make you angry. If you're sitting there hungry and missing this and missing that, and then they taking your taxes and then they sending it overseas.
Well, look, I mean, because I'm gonna tell you, like, if the American people were actually taken care of and appreciated, and actually had the different entities available to get things worked out, you wouldn't have so many angry people. Because I mean, shit, white people pissed off. You know what I'm saying? All white people are not getting taken care of either. Who's supposed to be the first class citizens? So it's like really like they want to piss everybody off and have them pointing the finger at another group, saying that they the reason why you can't have shit is because of them. They want this and they want that, and they think they deserve this and they deserve that. Where like we all deserve what it is we need. You know what I'm saying? Like at least our needs. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got to eat, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody deserves their needs in a country that government is, especially as big as us. I mean, really, we should be so well off to where, you know, when we do help other countries, we're just kind of like, yeah, look, we're humanitarian, so yeah, we're helping out this country. Like we got 12 countries we're taking care of, and shit, Russia, they're so well off, they're doing the same thing, and China, like everybody's taking on X amount of countries that they're gonna take care of that's in their region, and blah blah blah, and the whole world is good.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
I mean, that's what it should. That's what it should be, you know. But no, fuck everybody. Like, no, if everything is in perfect harmony, what the fuck are we worth? We don't. They're not gonna need us unless there's dismay and horror and fear and all these other things. Like, they're not gonna need us if everything is working like it can, like it should, like.
Yeah, I'm gonna use this moment to shamelessly promote the channel and ask people for money. So Pat, Deuce, who's ever listening, if y'all want to chunk in $10, $20, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been mismanaging funds, and this show cost me freaking money. I'm trying to stay on the air. I gotta pay bills. I gotta pay these. I don't even know what all subscriptions I have related to this show, because I was just, when I started setting up this show, I was just signing up to all kinds of shit left and right. I need to find out. I need to do that app that tells me what all subscriptions I have, because
Truebill.
Yeah, because I've been having subscriptions coming out when I don't like, because I have to, like, the new job, I get paid every 2 weeks now, and I'm still getting used to that. And I be having these damn subscriptions. Before it didn't matter.
Yeah, it looks like, ain't it funny? Because I mean, I've been analyzing a lot of that shit too. I had some shit that came out, and I'm like, the hell, $20 for what? And then of course, I find out, yeah, it was some shit I ordered. Or, I mean,
yeah, because that's what I was thinking when I looked at my, like, somebody that got into my, they didn't hack my. Oh no, that's a subscription I signed up to. Yeah.
Well, see, when shit get tight, boy, when shit get tight, you be like cussing motherfuckers. What the mother? Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I need that. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, I did sign up. I authorized that. I sure did. And it's the pinch is in, man. I'm finally feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, but I've been feeling it lately. Ain't gonna lie. I've been feeling it. Motherfucking. I want to talk about this. That's what we're gonna get into in a little while. Is the housing. You know what I'm saying? This guy in this video is saying that housing is like the cause of everything, is what he's saying. Like, and it's a really good argument. Elliot says a utopia ideal can be controlled. A utopia ideal can be controlled. Yeah, so I think what he means is that if somebody was to like create a utopia, then it's definitely gonna be like hell. It's gonna be like a prison.
Well, that's not what's happening right now.
Yeah,
that's his point. That's pretty much okay. That's yeah, man.
Yeah, buddy. I feel that. You know what's the very disheartening part? When they get you and that shit come out your account, and then you call them to try to cancel that shit and realize everything is automated, and you get frustrated. This shit make you want to close your whole bank account. Like, man, fuck this. I'm starting a new bank account.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Y'all just gonna have to find me about that couple of dollars. Nah, I don't like changing bank accounts.
Nah,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
either.
either,
I'm
bro.
not- I'm not
I've been
crazy
having the
about it
same
either, but-
account since for like 10, 15 years, bro.
Yeah. The last time I changed the account, it was some things out of my control. And you know what? I have Chase right now, and I didn't choose Chase. I had Washington Mutual. So when Chase bought Washington Mutual, when Washington Mutual went out of business, and I still have the same account number and routing number and everything. It's crazy. But it's a Chase account now.
Yeah, because they're the ones that bought your bank.
Yeah, I don't know how Chase is. I
I
know a
got
lot of people
Chase.
deal with Chase. I got a credit union.
Well, and you know what? I'm going back to my credit union. Or either I'm getting another one because I think I'd rather just deal with. I mean,
I have a credit union too that I use. So Chase is my
yeah,
main account, and then I use a credit union for like savings and shit.
yeah.
I have a Chase savings account also, but the credit union is like separate. But see, the access to that account is limited. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. That's the benefit of Chase is because the ATMs and the banks and shit are everywhere.
Yeah, and I probably keep my Chase, at least my personal, because I got my business account with them as well. But I think I want to do like really start dealing more with credit unions with my business than I have, I have been. So
You have to check into it because a lot of credit unions don't deal in commercial trucking business. So that's the downfall of them.
well, no, I'm not. I mean,
Majority of them.
that's not the only business I have, but I mean, they will. It depending on how you structure yourself.
Yeah, I
Because
was
I'm
about to
not.
say what the hell they need to know all that shit for anyway.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Well,
I mean,
I was saying that in regards to like if you're trying to like
well, no,
if you go to
I,
try to take a loan or something like that, or if they they may like that's like with my credit union when I had my own truck and stuff, like they knew I had a trucking company and stuff, and so I was gonna buy
it's
a pickup truck, a diesel pickup truck, and that was for. Are you not using this for any commercial purposes, huh? Because I'm like, nah, this is a personal truck. I just want a diesel pickup.
well, but that's and that's cool because I mean, like that's true. But if you're going with a personal account to do a loan, yeah, like it's all about structure because honestly, like the bank won't do it through a personal account, but like because of the different programs, if it's set up as a business, they can use like women, they got a program that is set up for that through the SBA that that'll be the government will ensure because it's a certain business, so that's why they try to protect you and themselves at the same time by asking you those questions. Because if you're like, well, yeah, I really want to do this, they're probably going to tell you, all right, well, look, why don't you do, if you do this, and this. Some of them probably won't because it's like not their area, they only work in personal and they don't, they won't get paid from it, so they probably won't tell you all the stuff behind it. But just going in there with your at the least a EIN or have your LLC or whatever set up, shit, man, you get so many different, like they gonna treat you different, and everything that you was doing on a personal level, you can 10 times that now.
Yeah, we need to talk more about that shit because that's the direction I'm going in. I want to I noticed, well, let me read his comments. He said, power economics, and then he says, I use the bank's money to offset capitalism. So it's like, I noticed that you can have your shit set up and just kind of flowing. And I've done that before, and I just want to do more like that. I realize that that's what people be doing. Like, the money just kind of moves from here to there and there to here. You know what I mean? Like how some people be talking about credit cards and paying their bills with the credit cards and then paying back the credit card. Like stuff like that.
Well, and I mean, of course, it's got to be a good plan, and set in place because yeah, you can do it. I mean, but you can't be bullshitting with it's got to be some kind of business, something that's generating money, whether you're in the profit, as long as it's at least taking care of those initial bills, the loans and stuff that you're starting out, because you're gonna find yourself into where it could be almost like a Ponzi scheme. You robbing Peter to pay Paul if you don't really set it up right. But yeah, I mean there's lots of ways to do it, but you know, you don't want, you know, you got to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is making enough money to cover it and whatever, you know, habit or whatever, you know what I'm saying, everything that comes out of it. So I mean, there's look, we could look. I can give you some game. I can give you a few different things, but like I said, you got to really have, you know, make sure that whatever you're spending that money on is, you know, it's a, you know, causing the effect or affecting the cause. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be, it's got to be generating some money. Period. That's the main.
Elliot says banks invest your deposits, and that's what the hell be making me mad. That like I understand that part of it. Like I know they're making money off of my money, so then why the hell are they making me pay for them to have the opportunity to flip my money? I understand the streets. I know how the game go.
Well, you know, if you able to get some money and you know, be able to use it to buy you some dope, and as long as you keep on moving that dope long enough, you know, you doing it illegal, they wouldn't give a shit how you doing it. I promise you, they don't give a fuck how you make the money, as long as you cover your end. But you know, there's also like you can be a bank yourself. That's the part that you can invest that money instead of dealing with them directly. You can take that money and put it in insurance, just like with like they spend more money on insurance than they do on anything else. So if you're doing what they're doing, you can create your own banking system.
Yeah, go get you like a $500,000 policy, take a loan against that. But you can, but like Pat is saying, you can do that, but you don't do that. You don't go take that kind of crazy amount of money, and you know you're only making $100,000 a year.
Well,
You
I mean,
need
it's
to be
still
generating more capital than that. You need to be upwards around 200,000 to 300,000 a year, so it's not hurting you to pay that
Interest on that
money.
loan.
Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty all the stuff that you get that you would get anyway. You can, you know, pretty much get like because you just have to have enough money that you know put in there, and of course steadily putting money in there. Like you keep paying the insurance because this is pretty much like a life insurance policy you're making, but the bigger it is, you know, the more you can be able to, you know, take from it. Like let's say, you know, you have, let's say you make $1 million loan, you put 50 grand in there. I mean, you're not gonna be able to take out more than 50 grand at a time. I mean, that's, you know, you can get a percentage of that. So it's just based on like how much you're building. But if you continue to build it, like let's just say you're working for a year, you have a business and you're working for a year, and you've made 200,000, but instead of putting it into your bank account, you put it into your insurance policy. That way that you don't need any permission from anybody to get that money later.
Yeah.
You just go to
And it don't cost you anything either.
No, because you're paying it back to yourself when you know, when everything boils down to it. And if you die, the only thing that's they take from it is the amount of money that you borrowed from it, and that the rest of that policy, you know, whatever's left in that policy, say if it's 2 million or whatever, you done took 300,000 or 500,000, whoever is your beneficiary still get 1.5 or
whatever.
1 point, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I mean, it just.
Elliot says, how many times have they committed fraud and still exist? I swear, I feel like the banks are like the mafia, man. Them niggas is like the mafia. It's like, you know, back in the day, it's like, you know, running numbers.
You feel like, wait,
you know
hold on. You feel like?
Yeah, they are. They are the mafia. Back in the days, they had the number run-ins. Remember yeah. And they was running numbers, and they did it like the lottery and shit, right? And then they would give you money if you did it, but that's it right there. That's what the damn banks are. They're coming.
Yeah.
They don't come and break your legs now. They just take your house and your car.
Yeah, well, because I think,
Hey,
yeah,
bro.
because I know, like, you're kind
I,
of looking at the whole loan shark type of deal, along with the numbers game and all that. But you know, like, really, no matter what angle, whatever angle you're going at, like, you dealing with some fucking gangsters. So, you know, whether it's the street gangsters or the ones that's dressed up in suits, at the actual bank, or yeah,
Yeah. Let me
straight
read his
criminals.
comments. Elliot said, straight criminals, like they are one, they're not even, it's not even legal, the stuff that they do. Elliot says, they just pay fees. Black people are under a spell because rotating the black dollar can create freedom. That's why we need some banks. We need to make some banks, like Pat is saying. I
Well,
love this conversation. Elliot
hey,
says,
but
it
you know
goes
what?
back. Hold on, let me read his comments, then y'all can say. He said, it goes back to the federal government under artificial intelligence. And damn, I speak truth heavy. Okay, go ahead.
Deuce.
I was just gonna say, like I be
Wait,
hearing, like,
I need
you
some
know,
juice.
like even I have my own gripes about.
No, I was gonna say it sounded like you was kind of breaking up on my end. I don't know if
I could be, man. I'm traveling up and down these little rolling hills over here.
no, you sound good right now. Go ahead, keep it rolling.
I said, you know, I be have my little gripes about that shit too. But you know, one of the things I wanted to say, like, bro, just get to that promised land of setting my shit up like that, dog. I be doing the same shit they doing. Like, I ain't gonna even sit here in front. Like, if I had bread like that to invest and do shit like that, and loan and lend for myself, and create and be self-sufficient and create my own banks, that's what I'll be doing. And I'll be loaning other motherfuckers money, and I'm charging interest on that shit. Like, I ain't gonna even lie, bro.
Well,
I
you
wouldn't
know,
rob nobody, but you know, I'll be kind of within that same thing. Like, keep that shit going. You feel me? Because that's how a lot of that's how they do that shit, bro. Like, they piggybacking they buddies and they family members off it. Like, you know, they piggybacking them off of this. As long as you pay what you owe, you know what I'm saying,
hmm
and you keep that money in rotation, you keep that shit going. Like, bro, why not create something like that? Like, just think if it's the three of us doing it and we keeping it going, but you can't miss your shit. Like, nigga, you gotta make sure you bank. You feel me? Like, why not? Why not? I would love to
yeah,
do
no,
that.
no,
You
because
feel me?
see the
Like,
thing, yeah, because I mean the main thing is not because I mean you have to look at money differently. Because I don't spend money, I circulate money, because I tend on it coming back to, like, at the end of the week, like I expect to have, you know, a majority of that money that I just spent back at me or more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think it's a psychological game that we have to really play with ourselves in order to you know really see it in a different light in order for it to play out in a way, because I mean it's almost like if you don't put money out there or take a chance on life, you're not in the game, period. So I mean, you got to put shit out there, risk it for loss, but at the same time be set up for a reward system through it. So it's
yeah,
honestly, it's almost like you know, I mean, it is. I mean, it's the law of attraction, really. Like, I mean, you have to trust in something, and it's better that if you can have a group of people like-minded, or however you want to be affiliated with those people, and y'all develop your own system. Because, like, we could have, like, for a long time, like, I mean, there's other foreigners in this country that has the same system, that's, you know, seeing, you know what I'm saying, like, that, like, hardly any of their money is being spent outside of their community for at least what, like 10 days or 12 days before, you know, they spend $1 with somebody outside of their own circle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think what you're trying to say is, like, think of money in a different way, And I think that, like, if you think of money as a tool, you know what I'm saying? You know, as a
Yeah.
means to an end, as a thing, as a tool that you use to whatever, you know. And
Yeah.
I think that people don't want, you know, can't seem to get their mind around it to think of it in that way, because they want to think of it as a thing that they hold in their hands that they use to buy stuff with, instead of thinking of it as a tool.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, like I'm saying, like also with the circulation thing is that, I mean, we need enough systems in place to where, you know, like if we're buying groceries, we need somebody that has a grocery store that we can circulate money through, so we can get the things we need and they can do the stuff they need, and you know, they have money to be able to rotate new product. Like, I mean, like that whole idea of rotating the dollar is, you know, most people have it doing it at a high level that we, you know, we don't even realize that, okay, it's necessary for us to have our own system, or we end up where we are right now. We're trusting the government to, you know, and all of their systems. You know what I'm saying? We're living through a system, but can it be our own one that we've put in place and we trust and, you know, depend on, than us trusting and depending on one that, you know, when they decide it's got flaws, or to put flaws in place. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the part that we gotta be more efficient on. Like we gotta figure out something different.
Yeah, man, because, you know, instead of like, you know, like what I see is like taking their schemes and what they done and use that shit the same way, bro, and come up. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You know, like study that shit and come up, because I mean, you know,
I mean,
that's just. Go
yeah,
ahead,
I
my.
mean, no, you good, bro. I didn't want to step on your toes, but I'm just like, I really just want to add to it. I mean, it's just there's they've been so, you know, some of them, a lot of them actually have been pretty aggressive against us. Like a lot of them, if you really look into them, like most of them do not like us. So it's like, okay, us more than anybody needs to have that type of system, because we don't know who, you know, who's gonna act crazy with us next week, who's gonna, you know, like deny us, you know, a seat in their restaurant, or, you know, like, I guess if they really wanted to, I mean, they could, and then, or their grocery stores or whatever. So it's like, do you continue to depend on the people that hate you, or do you try to do something, you know, for yourself? Because I mean, I don't know. I think we was kind of talking about this last week, but shoot, I mean that, you know, well, whenever it was, it's just like we have like a bunch of people around the world that would be happy to do business with us, but because I guess we're too lazy or too ignorant to work together in order to do it. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
like,
you had it right with the second statement, bro. It ain't laziness. A lot of us, for a lot of us, it's trusting. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been
but we
played
have to
against each other
trust
for
it.
so long. You got.
Because I know, but see
Yeah, I
that
know. I
to me,
get it. I get it. I already know where you finna go with the argument. I get that. But you know just as well as I know, a nigga would rather trust this fucking corporate that we have no say in than he would rather trust, you know,
so,
Ogun's bank and trust. Let's be real. So it's like breaking down that barrier and getting, like you said, getting like-minded people, you know what I'm saying, to believe and can see the vision, bro, you know, and not be for thyself. That's the biggest thing, bro. We got
eh,
so many
Well,
shysters
let me say,
that like.
I would invest in Ogun Bank and Trust off top right now.
well, I mean, you know, I'm working on trying to get a bank or slash credit union going now. Like I don't, I know I sent out a bunch of
Those
you know,
surveys and stuff.
survey. Yeah, because I mean, I have to have so many surveys in order to even move it to the next level. And I got quite a few, and then the other, some of my other tribal members are, working on that. But like there's different things that we're trying to do, but it's just like very few people are really on that whole idea. Like some people, like the white man's ice is just colder
Yeah, so
to
stupid.
them. To
Let me
them.
read. Let me read the Elliot's comment. He says agriculture is key, and he said life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Yeah, I meant to read those earlier.
No, yeah, man. It really gets sad because I mean everybody else is doing their thing. Like I mean, you see some of the freshest faces of America working together with their own, and you think some of them don't get screwed. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to like the whole idea is okay, and then like for the most part, a lot of times if it gets screwed, it's because like we already didn't have the money to go around to begin with. But in order to keep that effort going, you just gotta keep trying at it. You can't just be like, oh damn, I lost my $5. All right, well put in another $5. Just shut up and keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, like it's it's gonna kind of happen for a while. Somebody's gonna have to stick up for somebody else and to try to keep this thing circulating so we can get it to a point where it operates on its own. But until then, yes, you're gonna have to invest in people that look like you.
I have no problem with that. You feel me? I just need, have no problem with that whatsoever, bro. Like I'm trying to get to the mountaintop. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
bring people along with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see generational wealth, like for real. I'm trying to get to it. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
You know, fuck
It's
that
so,
damn the motherfucker that's telling me because oh man, you got money now, you change. Nigga, I'm supposed to stay the same. I'm supposed to stay that same savage ass motherfucker. I'm supposed to get this
see,
bread and I'm
but
supposed to
that's
multiply it. Fuck
but
you.
that's how ignorant we are because I mean for one like we don't have money. I don't like I mean even like as far us as a people, we're less than 2% of the the money of this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean 2%. So 98% of the money is somewhere else. And even if like I said, some of the newest people in this country are in pretty good shape. And I think like that's the biggest like argument for reparations for black people because I mean we've been here, we've built the country and like but I mean they purposely set it up this way. You know what I'm saying? And of course for a long time they've scared people into not wanting to build anything because oh all they're gonna do is come and tear it down. Like, well, you know what? I mean, we still here, we still living. Um, Fight,
I'm not gonna.
motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give up my fight. Like this, not back in the day, motherfucker. You gonna have to. You gonna. Yeah, I'm fighting to the death. Like because this shit here not only protects me, this protects my children and the other future that comes with it, that comes along with it. So it's not like hey man, that's just one of the things that I have awakened to. That sometimes in order to get change, bro, sometimes you gotta be willing to sacrifice, something, and sometimes you may have to sacrifice yourself. Like it's just one of them things.
Yeah.
It ain't easy. It's not an easy decision. I can't even sit here and say that's an easy fucking decision, but you know, we gotta to make something work because this shit here old, bro.
Well,
This system
there's
is old and played out. It's
well,
either you
I
gonna
think
sit here and and wither away and be a worker bee the rest of your life and listen to the man, or are you gonna
but
create
no,
a circulation?
I don't think people realize how close, like 2% of the, because I mean, you know, there's only so many billionaires and millionaires. Like, I mean, you know, we probably got, you know, a couple of million millionaires in the black community, but I mean, we're still like, they say like we're 40 million. I think it's probably more of us. So I mean, even if we have 10 million people who got millions, I mean, it's not spread to enough of us in order for us to say that we all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more than half of us to be millionaires, and then we need our own like group of middle class that's, you know, making a couple of 100,000, and you know, yeah, we'll have some that's gonna be making probably hopefully really no less than 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to get to the point to where our people on the low end is still making above their needs.
Yeah.
And we gotta do that. We can't expect somebody else to give a shit enough to say, oh, you know what, we you know, dig in your pockets, everybody, put in the plate. I mean, yeah, y'all pay taxes and shit, but if you're expecting them to make the difference, you're screwed.
Let me play this because you mentioned middle class, and I swear I've been meaning to cover this. And it's like, I saw this video that was talking about there is no such thing as a middle class.
Well, it is. I mean, I guess it's based on what your definition of it is.
That exactly.
Yeah.
Let me play this. I'm gonna chop it.
Middle class the wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes.
In the middle class today are trying desperately to survive.
America's middle class is getting hollowed out.
Joe Biden announced today a new front in his ongoing war against America's middle class.
He's trying to tell us he cares about the middle class. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
Pop quiz. Are you middle class? Well, that depends, obviously. So many variables to take into account. Where do I even begin? Okay, for starters, are you a millionaire? Oh, good. Well, most millionaires are middle class according to Millionaires, so welcome to the club, I guess. Millionaires are the wealthiest 8% of the country, but sure, they can be part of the middle class. Plenty of room in the middle class for everybody. Come on in, the water's fine. It's not too hot, not too cold, it's right in the middle. Look, don't get mad, everybody's middle class anyway. All the way from the lowest income bracket to the highest in this Gallup poll, you'll find people who call themselves middle class, or if they're really brave, upper middle class, but very rarely just upper class with no middle. This is just how it is, and it's been this way forever. Back in the late 30s, nearly 90% of Americans told the New York Times they were middle class, and only a measly 6% bravely donned the upper class label. Now, don't worry, we'll be putting all that to rest with a better definition of class later in this video. But you'd be forgiven for getting confused. What are millionaires doing in the same middle class that people making less than $20,000 a year say they're part of?
Okay, pause. Go ahead, comments. What? How does a millionaire and a $20,000 a year person both think they're in middle class?
Because America gives different perceptions to people that, you know, just isn't true. Because I mean, you know, I would definitely say, because at one point I looked at, based on, you know, some things that I read, that middle class is really people who are making 400,000 or more. That's what they, you know, at least based on some of, like, you know, DC. I think at the time it was like, you know, like based on how you know, the what you call it, the cost of living of you know, that state or whatever. Because I mean, if you think about, you know, it's gonna be different based on where you live. New York, California, Indiana, Louisiana, it's different everywhere, but at the same time, I mean, if you really look at a national average, like in order to pay, let's just say for me, I feel like you're at least middle class if you can put all your bills on repeat and never worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have everything set up to automatically come out when your bill is due. It just comes out and like you don't notice it. You can be a part of the middle class. But if you gotta analyze what's coming out every every day, every week, every couple of days or whatever, no, you ain't got enough money to even consider yourself middle class.
Elliot says rich and wealthy are different.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can say that, but I mean, a lot of people can't even use either one of those words, rich or wealthy.
Let's play a little bit more.
If being middle class is all about how much money you make, and yet this is how people self-identify, does the phrase middle class even mean anything at all? Is it an actually useful phrase with any sort of analytical purpose, or just a cheap way to score easy political points, like supporting wildly unpopular policies, or shooting beer bottles some intern wrote socialism on? No, of course middle class means something. It's definitely 100% a real thing. Come on, if it didn't mean anything, who would care? Why would politicians spend so much time comforting the middle class and telling them they're going to be safe with them? Or if they don't vote right, that the other guy is going to screw them over? Why would the media regularly panic about the death of the middle class or about it getting hollowed out?
Oh, shit. Got you.
Look, because I thought of something that was like a mind fuck, just like the whole middle class thing, is the whole like second classness. Like black people have been a part of this second class all of their lives, but really you're at the bottom of the barrel. Like, I mean, foreigners get better treatment than you do. You nowhere near second class. Like, people lie to themselves, well, we're in the Constitution and but okay, look, if you believe that shit, you ain't paid attention to shit.
Elliot says hoarding is an issue.
All right, I don't know where that came from.
Well,
that's
like, no, he means like
money.
Means like,
yeah, hoarding the money. Okay, yeah, yes. Well, I mean, you know what? I ain't mad at them because guess what? I mean, they have secured themselves a future and probably, generations, different, money for their generations, but like we need to be more like them. That's all I can say is like we need to do some hoarding too.
Yeah,
I think or more investing. Like we need to have more of that circulation going. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a part of an addictive type of behavior too, though. You know what I'm saying? We look around, we look at Americans, and you look at their closet, and they have like 200 pairs of Jordans or whatever. Like, nobody needs 200 pairs of shoes. But
Stay
it
out
seems,
my closet, bro.
yeah, but it seems normal. But that's not normal. That's extra. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So-
no, I mean that's not middle class though. Like that's somebody who's rich. Like you got a closet for just shoes, and then you got closets for, just this or that or whatever. Like, bro, I'm gonna tell you, like, I've heard people that's making, 50, 60, maybe up to 80,000 that's claiming to be middle class. Like, no, you're starving. You don't even know that you're starving.
Elliot says Africa is the richest continent and yet the poorest.
Whew. Man, yeah, you ain't lying about that. But so are we. Like, I mean, we have so many resources here. Like, we really can't talk shit about nobody. Because guess what? Yeah, they got a lot of mines, they got this and they got that, but there's a lot of resources here that we're getting robbed of just as bad.
Yeah.
If not more.
I'd agree with that. The land of milk and honey, they didn't just make that shit up.
Yeah.
Let me
So
play
I mean,
this.
even if we talking about just farmland and you know, like whatever, like yeah,
Yeah.
we're not better than anybody else.
Real and also very important. Listen up, bucko. The middle class is vital, okay? It's the American dream. Look, it says so right here in this Vox article about the middle class getting hollowed out. 40 years ago, the term middle class referred to Americans who had successfully obtained a version of the American dream: a steady income from one or two earners, a home, and security for the future. Now, it mostly means the ability to put your bills on autopay and service debt. The stability that once characterized the middle class, that made it such a coveted and aspirational echelon of American existence, has been hollowed out. There, not only is the middle class a real thing, a house with a white picket fence, a dog, and 2.5 kids, all of that is not only real, it's under threat. We know this because the American dream isn't attainable anymore, and the only way to really experience it if you're not ludicrously wealthy is by getting into debt. Mortgages, credit cards, student loan debt, needing to rent instead of owning your home for more of your 20s and 30s. 6 of 10 Americans can't afford a surprise $500 expense. Average student loan debt is somewhere north of $35,000. Inflation is pushing consumer prices sky high. The American dream is functionally over. Ergo, you can kiss the middle class goodbye. It makes sense. Or alternatively, if you're an economist or something, the middle class isn't going anywhere. Like a guy at a Phish concert, the middle class goes with the flow. According to economists, finding the middle class is as easy as cutting up the population into 5 chunks and calling the middle 3 the middle class, or multiplying the median household income by, let's say, 2/3 and 2. And all the numbers you get in between, well, that's the middle class. See, it's not going anywhere. Mathematically, there's always going to be a middle class, or rather a bunch of wildly different middle classes depending on who you ask. But what if the middle class never really existed in the first place? After all, we have so much trouble pinpointing exactly what it is and who belongs in it. When we do give a definition of the middle class, it's about vague things like the American dream or some arbitrary number we got by multiplying income by this or that
The
fraction.
pursuit of happiness.
And what about things like where you live? $50,000 a year is a very different amount in San Francisco than it is in rural America. And is $50K really the same if you make it by working 8 hours a day or just collecting returns on your investments, say if you're a landlord? Are two people with the same amount going into their bank accounts but living wildly different lives really part of the same class? It really seems like our current definition of class isn't doing a very good job and is mostly just muddying the waters. Well, that's on purpose. The reality is that class isn't about how much money you make, it's about how you make your money.
Pause.
Bars.
It's not about how much money you make, it's about how you make your money. He's gonna explain it more.
Yeah, no, bro. I mean, I agree with him, and it kind of sounds like he said a lot of the stuff that I said before, and it's just like, you know, really, it's a mind, it's a how we perceived it, you know, like, because I mean, we've all been sold a bill of goods, from the lowest to the highest. Like, there's people who you know, like, because they can survive on $40,000-$50,000, they feel like they're middle class too, because like they're able to pay, you know, their bills and they're good, whatever. But there's also, like, there's people who lives on 40,000-50,000 that seems to be more stable than somebody who makes 100,000, and you know, they're like check to check. So I mean, it really can be deceiving on you know, what people might consider, you know, middle class, but I think it's all a hoax. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless, the people at the top, the ones who we saw just make billions of dollars just one year last year, I mean, they're the really ones that's like the 1%, and then there's the 99%.
Yeah, that's one way. That's definitely a way to look at it. Let me read comments. Elliot says, when they freed the slaves, they enslaved the free. I want to play this part right here is the main part of the video. Let me play this.
Do you make money by working for someone else or by profiting off the work of others? Don't worry, I'll explain exactly what I mean by that in
2 minutes and 22 seconds.
regardless of how you feel after hearing this definition of class divided in two, maybe for the first time, you have to recognize that it's just more useful than the current definition we hear our politicians use. Our current dominant definition sucks. You're telling me the best we can do is define class into 3-ish groups of unknown size with undefined cutoffs, and everyone has a different idea of what the cutoff should be based on some random math, a fantasy from the 1950s, or the whims of a pollster. It sucks. Cutting up society in this crude, vague way isn't just impractical, it also ultimately tells us very little about society and gives us very little help in figuring out what we want it to look like. Are we okay with the lower class making 500 times less than the upper class? I don't know, maybe. Is 500 a lot or a little? Are we multiplying from the top of the lower class, the bottom, the very top of the upper class, or the middle of the middle class? Do we even objectively know what those numbers are in the first place? Or does it all depend on how big we make each group and where we draw the lines? The truth is, we don't have a clue. It's all random choices and opinions when you define class by income. And at the end of the day, it's what allows one politician to say they're helping the middle class, while another says they're actually hurting it. They can be looking at the same numbers, but because we don't have any universal frame of reference for what the middle class is, they can technically both be right. One guy can say, this is what's happening to the middle class, and the other guy can say, malarkey, and then nothing. We don't have a good way to even start agreeing on the facts, and therefore our politics go nowhere. Things don't change, and politicians know this. So what if we actually made an effort and used that second definition of class I talked about earlier? The advantage of dividing class along the lines of how you make your money instead of how much you make is that not only does it still give you an idea of the how much question, on top of that, you get a great insight into how the economy works, what your interests are, and therefore which politicians it actually makes sense to support, instead of hearing both sides tell you that they're the ones who really fight for the middle class and assuming whichever one you don't like is just lying. You will benefit from seeing class in this more practical way, because right now, politicians and the people who finance their campaigns are the ones benefiting from the vague definition that keeps things the way they are, in their interest. And just so we're clear about how I'm defining class, here it is. Society is divided into two classes, not 3, not 4, not 7. On the one hand, there are those who need to work to live, and on the other, those who have the privilege to make other people work so they don't have to. So long as you exchange your mental or physical energy for a salary, you are part of the working class, the class of people that works. A term which I know is confusing because to most people, working class just means poor. But here, it literally means what it says, regardless of whether the work you do is white collar or blue collar. The remaining few who make most, if not the entirety of their money through rents, speculation, or profit, mainly by owning things like companies or housing, not through their own work, are called the capitalist class, or the owner class. But what's the point of all this? Let's start with the advantage politicians get by pretending class is about how much you make.
Okay, so the ownership class and the working class, basically. No middle class.
Masters and slaves.
Yeah, you either work for and trade your money, your time for wages, or you own something.
You got somebody that does that for you.
Right.
You make money from off of the people who do the work, actual work. So I mean, yeah, that's the same structure that it's always been. Because I mean, yeah, I could pretty much even say that to some extent. Because I mean, I'm still trading time for money, whether I own my own business or not. Like I mean, even business owners can be in a position where they're still trading time for money. Like
so then they would still fall in the working class, even though they own a business.
Exactly.
So I think people will understand things better. Like this guy said in the video, if they look at it this way, working class, not poor people, just people who have to, because lawyers, they got to go and make a good amount of money, but they got to show up in the courtroom, right?
Not only show up in the courtroom, but you got to prove your case.
That's a working man or woman. That's working class.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Even if they're making $1 million a year, It don't matter.
Does not matter. You right about that, because I mean, even the person that's making $1 million a year is still most likely working for somebody who, I mean, the person who's making $1 billion or
Yeah.
a couple of making more millions or whatever. Like, I mean, it's really, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like,
Because
that's
lawyers
really
work for a firm. Somebody has to own the firm, right?
Well, but I mean, see, even if it's not a firm, I mean, you still need customers. You need somebody that's going to be putting money in your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you got to get out and go to, if you're a lawyer, you still got to go to the court, whether you're working for a firm, because somebody's paying that firm.
Right. 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 So that's the thing. So it's like the people thinking just because they have a whole bunch of money that they're not a part of the working class. But if you have to trade your time for money, so then let's talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Workers.
Any of those artists, the football, basketball players, right?
They got to get out there. They're workers. They're high paid slaves. I mean, that's all. I mean, especially based on the example that he just gave. Yeah, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can be a billionaire and still be a slave, because that's exactly Jay-Z worked for. Because, like, I mean, he's like probably got high investments in some of these these businesses that he's running. But guess what? He still got to run that business so that, of course, yeah, he pays people, but he also gets paid by people. Because he's with Live Nation. They don't do what they got to do for the Super Bowl or these different events around the world, because they throwing parties for these people that's, like, they're still paying them for a service.
And he has to trade his time, because he got to spend time to make sure that these deals go through, the events go through, everything go through. Because otherwise he's not gonna get paid or whatever. They're gonna want him to pay them money back if he has a contract or whatever it is. He got to make sure that shit go over smooth and works.
But I think there's still a tainted side to the whole thing, because it's like, okay, I think everybody has to make some effort to, some, like, even the people at the top have to do something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not have to spend as much time as others, but you have to do something. So, I mean, even if it's checking your bank account to see if the money there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you got to do something.
You
but
gotta
you
got to be managing
if you just
it to some extent.
If you just own everything, then fucking you just own that shit, and you just fucking like, if you have a large enough amount of cash, you can stick that wherever and just live off the interest.
But still, like, I mean, in order for it not to fall, the bottom not to fall out, you have to have some management stuff in place for you to make sure that you don't, because you working to some level too, even if you're at the top. Like, you don't get to the top without, at least expressing, using that mental energy that keeps it all in balance. But
the point of it is to help people understand the politics, because it really clears up the politics if you look at it this way.
Well, it helps a little more, but it's still not exact, because, I mean, you really think about it. I mean, it's all began with the middle class. What is the middle class? Like, I think there needs to be, like, a clear definition, for us as, humans. If we're gonna be in this construct, we should have some clear defined rules or outliers of what it really is, so you can really know if you've hit your mark or not. Because, like I said, it's great. It's that area is so gray to where, let's just say I work, but I also do investments where, let's say, my investments make more than what I work. I don't necessarily have to work, but I do. I do. So I mean, I work for people, but I also got money that comes in that I don't have to work for. So where am I now?
Yeah. Let me
You know,
play some more because it's all about the politics. Listen.
Make, not how you make it. As we've already seen, the first advantage of the vague definition is that it makes things, well, vague. We don't really know what's going on, and it's basically impossible to assess what politicians say objectively. But there's more. The vague definition is constantly used to throw the middle class into competition with the so-called lower class. In other words, according to our better definition, two people who are both part of the working class are pitted against each other. Politicians constantly invoke the middle class because you'll always be able to find someone with more money than you and someone with less money than you. So it'll always feel like they're talking to you. And in that process, they warn you against the people below you in the hierarchy. The lower class are the people who make less money than you, and therefore that you are told are out there gunning for your job or taking your tax dollars for welfare and whatnot. You are constantly pitted against people who are worse off than you. And if that feels weird, it's because at the end of the day, you actually share the same interests. You're both trying to get by and live a decent life. Just like there's no middle class, there's no such thing as the lower class. You're on the same team. The only thing that sets you apart is how precarious your situation is right this second, not the incentives you're responding to and where you could be if the circumstances were slightly different. As a member of the so-called middle class, you're always told to fear, if not outright despise, the lower class. But they're not a threat to your guarantee of a decent life. It's the capitalists above you who enjoy a net benefit from working class infighting. Infighting not only pushes things like wages down, therefore increasing their profits, it also distracts from the fact that they are profiting in the first place, meaning their position at the top of society doesn't get challenged. This can get confusing, like wandering into a Phish concert. Oftentimes, people get a bit confused with all this because they won't feel like they exactly fit into the definitions I've given so far. Usually it's because calling yourself working class feels wrong after years of being told it means poor, especially if you now live a comfortable life working a white-collar job. But most often, the confusion arises among small business owners, people who don't seem to fit in because they ostensibly own a company but still have to work to get by and live a comfortable life. What side of the divide do you end up on if this is you? It's easy to imagine a day where your company will grow and you'll need to employ more people and eventually you won't need to work anymore. That you'll become a capitalist and will be able to earn a living even after you stop working. It's the vision of success the American dream is built on. If this is you, it's easy to see how you'll start identifying with the capitalist class that you hope to join one day rather than the working class you share a lot more in common with today. It's that famous Steinbeck misquote that the poor see themselves not as an exploited proletariat, but as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. But if you're a small business owner, some part of you intuitively knows what side will actually defend your interests, even though it's not always obvious. Deep in your heart, you know it's not the capitalists. You've heard of stores like Walmart coming into cities and towns like yours and driving people who do the same things as you out of business. Big companies always end up cannibalizing the small ones. If you're a small business entrepreneur in tech, this kind of stuff might even be built into your business plan, getting bought out by a bigger company like Facebook or Google, even though you know that it's ultimately bad for society to have monopolies like this. But you still do it because it's the rules of the game. And if you don't sell out early, you'll probably just get driven out eventually. Nobody really stands up to the giants, at least not for long. Small business owners constantly have to hold competing narratives in their heads. One, that they're going to be taken over or driven out of competition by a bigger company, and two, that they will be one of the lucky few that becomes the bigger company. There is no alternative. There is no situation in a capitalist economy where businesses of all sizes cohabitate and don't try to encroach on each other's territory. The goal is always growth, and those who don't subscribe to that mentality don't make it very long. 20% of small businesses fail after a year. Half are gone after 5. And only 30% make it past a decade. Say what you want about the reasons these businesses fail. The ultimate truth is that the system is not built for small businesses. To continue to identify with the people who it is built for is to bet a lot on the system that will happily chew you up and spit you out. In other words, the real threat is not from below, it's from above. So if you're a small business owner and you make the majority of your money through your own work, you're not a temporarily embarrassed millionaire, you are a member of the working class.
That's pretty damn simple right there. What y'all think? Um,
Yeah, I mean I agree mostly with him or
Yep.
whatever, but like I said, I mean it still doesn't answer for who exactly, what segments of. I mean, middle class is mostly based on income still, right? Or the ability to uh
it's
get
it's really
things.
about how much work you have to put in on making an income. If you have to get up and go do something every day, or even if it's just a couple days a week, that's you're working class. It's really simple, And if you don't have to get up and your money still pours in, then you're part of the capitalist class. You're part of the owner class.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I
That
can switch over.
Yeah. So that's what they were saying. One of the tricks they do against a small business owner, or not just small business owners, but people who work, is the
Everybody.
idea that they gonna become part of the other one. Like he said, a temporarily embarrassed billionaire or whatever. Like, I'm not a part of the working class, and then they identify themselves with the capitalist class, but they don't have anything. They have very little in common with those people. They have a lot more in common with the other people that's in the working class that they would consider poor or whatever. Let me read some comments. It says, excellent video. Been thinking this for a long time. The class struggle is not between the dirty poors below you and the slightly more rich above you. It's between those who work for a living and those who own for a living. Let me read another one. It says, something I ask people is, if you stopped working tomorrow, what would happen? Their answer is always a version of, I'd soon become homeless, to which you can simply respond, so you need to work to survive, yeah? Well, that means you're working class, just like 99.9% of people. So that's pretty simple. So like I say, like how many people can continue to pay their bill? Like let's say they wasn't working for whatever reason, they stopped working and 6 months pass. Can you pay your bills that for that amount of time? You know what I'm saying? What about a year, 2 years? Because I was thinking about we was talking about that movie Pursuit of Happiness with y'all know Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith. And remember when he got the job, they said you got the job, and then he was like, there's no salary. He was like, I wasn't aware there wasn't no salary. And it's like a lot of those jobs are like that. You have to work 6 months, a year, sometimes 2 years on your internship. That's part of your training to get the job, because they want to feel like learning or education or whatever is what's important to you. Like you're willing to give all your time to learning this job, even though you're not getting paid anything. So but these jobs are the jobs where you're going to get paid all out the ass, but how are you going to make it 6 months, a year, 2 years? You know what I'm saying? So that's another way to keep certain groups of people from those kinds of jobs, because they can't go 6 months, a year, 2 years without getting paid. Only people that can do that is someone that's already pretty damn well off. Yeah, I get what I'm saying? Let me read another comment. It says, I once had a professor who was very careful to distinguish between economic and social class. This was in the context of ancient Rome, but depressingly still rings true today. Lifestyle and privileges are more indicative of your class than how much money you have or make. Wealthy merchants, new money, were still considered working class and viewed with contempt by the leisure class, old money. The new money class is modern Western society, has been old money for, hold on, let me see, some time. They are the families of dynasties, able to participate in politics, shape laws, and impede social mobility. Yeah, so these people don't have to do nothing. They're heiresses. Elliot says melanin is worth more than gold, which is why so many black people get killed as the minority of the world. Let me read some more comments. It says they call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it, George Carlin. Another one, it says, my dad thought that because he went to university and didn't become a carpenter like his dad, that he wasn't working class anymore. I had to tell him over some beers, Dad, you're still working class. You just work in an office instead of a trade. Office workers are working class too. It doesn't matter how high up you ascend to management. An office manager is still working class. You can get several promotions and still be working class because at the end of the day, you're working for someone else. It's funny how this simple concept just completely gets lost. And this dude has to make a whole video explaining it. The title of the video is Why You're Not Middle Class. And I bet you could scream that to most people and they're just not going to hear it. I wanted to go into this. Let me see. I had an off-camera question. All right, wait a minute. Did we lose Deuce? You there, Pat?
Yeah, I'm here.
I had an off-camera
For
question.
a little while.
For a little while?
Yeah, I'm getting close to the end of my evening. I gotta get up early, but be here for a little bit longer.
Okay, well let's talk about something light a little bit. So it's like something you're interested in trying out or experiencing. Some kind of new thing that you haven't done before. For me, I don't know. I never did a cruise. I've been wanting to do that. I really want to go to like the Bahamas or shit. They probably got cruises to Belize or I know they got them to Barbados. That's not far. I want to see that water. The water off the coast of Texas is always so murky and dirty looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's the same way when you get across Louisiana.
Yeah, so I've been to California and I've seen how beautiful the water is off of the coast of there, and it's really cold and it's so much wildlife and shit there. It's beautiful. But I want to see off the Florida coast. Now, I've been to Florida, but I've never been to the ocean because I went to Orlando a couple times. But Orlando is far as hell from the damn beach and shit. So I kind of want to go South Florida and see how beautiful the water is out there. That's something I really want to do.
Chicago. You said California.
I've been to California. I never saw the water off the coast of Florida. I want to see that, and in the Caribbean area too, like Barbados, anywhere up in there, Jamaica, freaking anywhere up in there, and Central America, like Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. I want to go there. I feel really connected to that.
You can pump your brakes on that for me, because I would love to like those, visiting and yeah, all right, yeah, cool. But as far as what was the shit? You
I was talking about Central America, Belize, Guatemala, Salvador.
Yeah. I'm all right with those. Now you talking about because those are South America, Central. Like you talking about the islands and stuff like that. Yeah, now I can do that. But the rest of them, shit, you might as well say they at war.
Yeah, they going through it. Ain't gonna lie, but it's happening everywhere. You could probably slide in and slide it out. My dad always wanted to go to Mecca for the Hajj, like the Muslims do the Hajj to Mecca. You know, and I always wanted to go. I want to see the pyramids, and I would love to see the, the dome of the rock and stuff like that. I'd like to ride a camel and through the desert. Yeah. Yeah. I've been wanting to go down, like, do the lazy river thing where you do the tubing, where you get in the tubes and you just kind of like lazy river tubing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
long as it ain't no white water rafting type shit.
Yeah, no, it's just you cruising on the tube, and it's slow moving water, and you just mosey on down the little stream or river or whatever.
Long as it ain't too deep, yeah, I'll be fine. I try it.
Elliot said, "For me, DMT." So he talking about using drugs. Shrooms. I always wanted to try them. I never tried them. They're all natural. It's supposed to help with people with their ego, help to kill your ego, bring you more closer to nature, and what do you think about that?
You create that same thing in your own body. So really, there's healthier ways to do it without taking it, and learning to get rid of your ego is just like stop being an asshole. So
sometimes it's easier, said than done. Elliot says you can't overdose either.
Well, things are easy. You know what I'm saying? Like taking a drug in order to ease your life is, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a cost to pay at some point. That way. The other way is, it's healthier, and you learn a lot more about yourself. You that journey of know thyself is in progress. So
yeah, because I agree with you, because you could probably get there through meditating and fasting.
Yeah.
Getting in the sun, sunrises, sunsets.
Oh yeah, just certain breathing techniques can take you there.
Yeah. Elliot says they are tools. So I agree with Elliot too, though. It's more than one way to do whatever. You can't.
You're so lukewarm, boy.
I agree with y'all, both of y'all, on this topic, because it's like it could go both ways. Because the argument saying, like, it's weaker, like, people that's using it to escape. I agree with that, but you may not be using it for that. You may be using it as a tool to help expand your mind. You get what I'm saying? Like, if a person is using something regularly, then of course they're dependent on it. But you go on a trip with the monks or whatever up in the mountains, and you take a trip. You come back home and you tell the stories. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hear you. I feel what you're saying, bro. But I don't know, man. Like I've never done any of that stuff, so I can't tell you. Like the DMT. Now I've tried all kind of different things, but I guess that's why I'm where I am now. It's like really all that stuff is not even necessary. Like you can be on a high and never touch a drug. You know what I'm saying? So I guess like that's why like my mindset is the way it is. It's like it's not necessary. You don't need to do that. Now for those who have trouble with like attachment and detachment, within reality, yeah, you probably will need a drug because like you don't have a stable you probably mentally enough to rely on yourself enough to be able to capture those moments or even realize a good moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I do know, but it's just like as far as like either you get it or you don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
So what are some things that you have on like maybe your bucket list or something? Would you do skydiving or camping or something like that?
Man, I risk my life enough driving this damn truck. I don't really have no. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like I don't. Nah. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I would like to make. You know, like I do want to go to like. You know, I would love to visit Paris or you know like Italy, like visit some of these different places. Like those are some of the things I guess you could say on my bucket list. But I mean, as far as like doing something extremely adventurous, because I mean, like I would do like sailing, you know, stuff like you know, water ski, stuff like like I wouldn't mind doing stuff like that as far as adventurous, but jumping off the side of a building or the bridge or some shit to bungee jump or to parachute or something, that's not quite my thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of older couples that are buying like Winnebagos or whatever you call it, mobile homes, or they're buying sailboats, and they just drive around or they just sail around wherever, and that's their retirement, and it's cheaper than other stuff, other alternatives.
Okay, I mean, look, right now everybody's set up for failure because I mean, if you planned on retiring this year, you probably can't because like you can't afford you can't afford like everything that you built up, you can't afford to live on it anymore.
Unless you change your plans, because like I say, paying for a house or paying for a mortgage, paying rent or whatever, paying for cars and all of that.
But you can always throw a but in there, but when you've made a plan for you've made your 20-year 30-year plan, and now because of thieves and robbers at the top that has robbed you of that, like you don't look at it as easy as like, but if you do this, no, you're fucking pissed.
I agree with you.
Everybody
should be mad. I agree with you on that. But at the same time, if I was gonna retire this year and that was my plan, I'm fucking gonna retire this year and fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, people that like, because I mean, you're not even optimistic about it, really. You're just kind of like, I think it's a lot of naivety there because, like, I mean, people like said, like they tell you they sell you on this American dream, and then you've planned it all out. You've done all these different things. You've made different investments, and if you're not one of them, one of the at least let's just say the 10% of people, you're fucking screwed and you're starting over at one. Like you get to the 30 years and this is supposed to be what you can live on, and now you fucking moved the goalposts because now inflation got everything that my necessities cost so much to where me even taking a trip in the same state is so hard to fucking to just do because like the necessities cost too much. Like, bro, like I mean, I don't think it's full. Like, I don't think the view, like people really see it. Like, it's just like, oh, it's just. Well, I mean, that's the government. I mean, like it's you're too busy making excuses for them or finding other way. Well, I can just do this. I can just. No, you shouldn't have to. Like, you know what I'm saying? People who's fucking robbing you, right in front of your face, shouldn't be able to get away with this shit. Like,
I agree with you. I agree with
Yeah.
you. But what I'm saying is like you say fuck it. I'm gonna give me a sailboat. I'm gonna give me some fishing gear, and I'm a fish, and that's what I'm gonna eat, and I'm gonna spend as little as I can on fuel because I'm using the wind. You know what I'm saying? I'm like fuck y'all. I'm fucking retiring still.
I guess, bro. I mean, yeah, I guess I need to find a way to detach and just find, be like, just okay with getting fucked.
I'm not okay with it. That's why I do this show.
I don't think you ever get immune to getting fucked.
No, the cornhole, the corn cob going in the cornhole.
Man.
It's like the first time every time.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Elliot says, "Who controls your mind, the government or God?"
Well, that's a fucked up question because it depends because you could be manipulated. And because I mean, like people want to be able to have a sense of comfortability, and based on a premise, you feel that everything is godly. Like you've gone down this road of the right way, and then before you know it, man-made shit comes out of the woodworks and rearranges everything God has laid out for you. So I guess that's based on perspective. Because I mean, some people could just be like, all right, you know what? Instead of this freaking mansion I done paid for, living in it, and being able to take the trips that I wanted to take, and this, that, and the other. Now I gotta sell this freaking house and buy me a boat or some other shit that I'm gonna have to put maintenance to, and who knows, like the damn motor goes out on my boat or my RV, whichever one I choose. Can I afford the parts to keep it fucking going? Like,
I think the question, when he asked the question, "Who controls your mind, the government or God?" I think about the idea of God being me, right? My own mind. So if I am God and I'm controlling my own mind, then it's not gonna ever be the government. So it's the zombie robots that are being controlled by the media and the government and talking points. God ain't pushed by that.
No. Say, bro, look at what we're going through right now. Like we're all God, we've been God. Like, but at the same time, everything that we've planned on, everything that we've been working toward has been like everything about it is now new. It's different. Like this, like we have to recalibrate everything in order to like readjust all our plans are everything that we want to do. Like even the freedom that we're talking about has a new price to it. Because freedom ain't free.
It's definitely not. Elliot says we can agree to disagree, which is why freedom of speech is so important. And he says facts track a peace or blood in the street. And right now, what they say, no justice, no peace, man. He says, don't be afraid to die on moral principles. Because I'm not.
I mean, we're not even real. Like we're gods that's just carrying around this flesh.
Too much water, but that's okay. Just.
But, however, man, I mean,
a little bit.
The only way, like I know a couple of drivers that are retiring at the end of the year, and they got their shit set up pretty good. They had their money into some investments, and then they got their money into other investments. Like one guy I know, he's investing into the housing development, and right now with what he has, right right now, and what he has, set aside, he's got about, roughly right around like 3.5 mil of liquid asset, and then the rest of his other 4 or 5 mil is tied up in investments and stuff like that. But like right now, his kids are gone. It's just him and his wife, and he's actually doing exactly what Chaka is talking about. The boat should be ready. It's being built in Florida. It should be ready first of next year or end of this year. And that's what he's gonna do. But he's not, in a sense, fully retired, because he's took the proper steps. He's went out there and got his diving license. He's a diving instructor. You know what I'm saying? He's took the diving classes. He basically is a captain. So he's gonna use his boat to charter his boat around in certain docks, around the world, pretty much sail around the world. And he's got different licenses and visas and stuff set up. So
he's trading his sources of income.
Well, it's time for money.
The house that he had,
he's trading it off for something different.
He paid $50,000 for the house. Yeah, he paid $50,000 for the house, put the money into it. The house sits on 2 acres. The house right now, they're waiting on the deal to close. He just sold, and it's up here around Justin, Texas, just outside of Fort Worth. He just sold the house for $375,000, and he only paid $50,000 for the house and the land. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's supplementing his income in ways, because he's not really at the age to fully retire, because he's only 52, 53. But this is what he's wanting to do, because he's tired of the trucking industry, wants to get out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not everybody's set up like that though, too.
That's what I'm just gonna say. Like, I mean, that's not the average position, but it's great that he's in a comfortable position for himself, and look, more power to him. But I mean, he's still just like any and everybody else, from somebody who makes $500 a week to people who make $500,000 a year, or however you want to look at it. You're readjusting everything that you did, before this year. Like, even things have changed, gonna continue to change, and I guess, I mean, that's life. But at the same time, there's a lot of speculation on like, shit, the supply chain. Like, you buy this boat that is, they got plenty of them, no problem. But guess what? If anything breaks down on it, everything that you planned, and you can't just repair it. You can't get the part. You can't, like, because of all the systems in place are, questionable at this point. You might be barking up a tree where you're still at square one, or maybe even worse than the position that somebody who made less than you. In the next year, 2 years, next 5 years, like, what I'm saying? Like, this whole retirement that he's planned on, like, shit, that money can be screwed just because.
Yeah, but Pat, you gotta say that could be the case anytime. Like, it's like you were saying earlier. I mean, like, you gotta take some risks. You gotta jump out there.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that in the
this
fact of
adventure
investing.
that he just invested into.
He's
it's
investing
not
in
gonna
himself.
go anywhere. It's investing in the house. He just made this huge investment into, like, the housing market with developers that they're building high-rise apartments in apartment complexes all buildings in downtown Houston. So, like, he put a pretty amount in that, and then he has the Bitcoin. I think he said that, he has, somewhere close to $500,000, right around just over $500,000 in Bitcoin. He bought into it when it was really low, and then he has a lot of stock options with the company that he currently drives for, which is Tyson Foods.
So he'll be making dividends off of those stock options even after he retires.
Yeah, that plus he's got the high yield interest. What do you call those things? IRAs and shit like that. Like he's got stuff set up in that, different things like that. So like the dude is working and making money. Like he's been planning this. I've been knowing Mac for about 5 years, and he's been talking about this since I've known him. You know what I'm saying? And he's been planning, and so he's just kind of like, the shit that it hurt me. I've lost some money, but he was like, I'm not stopping with my plan and what I have, and what I plan on doing, he's
Yeah.
like, I'm getting out, I'm getting out of trucking. I'm tired of it, and just
Well, and to answer Chocolate, yeah, I mean, I guess really this is something that could happen at any point, and really has been happening over and over again. But that's the whole point of like investing in yourself or creating a system that's going to work better for you and like minds. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still on that same.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like we could try to think outside, all the way outside of the box, and just kind of like, part of our attachment to stuff is like wanting to be plugged into their system, because a lot of us don't really want to go without their
Exactly.
system. We really just
Exactly.
don't.
I mean, they're so used to it and comfortable with it. Like, I mean, shit, I enjoy a bunch of the system, shit within the system, but I know that, like, if we don't do something different, I'm gonna go insane. I mean,
Because that's the point, I think, I mean, I was talking about at work with somebody about it, and it was like, I think if you live in the United States, man, you need drugs. Like you've been traumatized. You need therapy. Just from living here.
Is drugs really the answer to everything?
I'm just saying. I mean, that's just like a euphemism. Like as far as like you need to see a doctor. You need mental health help. And drugs might be the answer. It might be. Because maybe there's no answer. 'Cause you're so damaged that you just need drugs to get by. To appear normal. To be able to function in society without getting on top of a rooftop and with an AR-15 like some people do.
All falls down. Oh, what was that? Falling down, or
Yeah,
falling
Falling
down?
Down.
I think.
Yeah, that movie is awesome. Yeah, that dude was like, this Coke should be 50 cents at the most, and some shit. He was like, I just need some change to use the phone. That shit is funny.
Hell yeah. But I mean, you say it's funny, but at the same time, like, I might be on the same verge, like feeling how he really feels, bro. Like,
I'm telling you, man. I felt that movie, and it came out when I was like a kid. I mean, I was a teenager, and I still felt the tension and stress of that movie. And even though I had never been in those positions to be able to deal with the kind of stress that guy was dealing with, but I could imagine it, and I felt like, like this is a real thing that a lot of people are going through every day. It's like that movie Office Space. That one hit me hard too. Did y'all see that one? That's a comedy, but that one got stuck in my head, man. It was like Office Space, and it was just like how miserable people are going to work every day. Like,
look,
yeah, I saw that shit.
I
They're
think,
like, fuck you, John.
look, I think you feel more played when, like, you've gone from being a criminal to be like, you know what? I'm gonna play the game right. I'm gonna do what the regular people do and get a job and work hard and do this and do that, and then for you to only realize that, damn, a criminal got me. They jacked me, and they living good. I should just stay the criminal.
Because it don't pay to try to do it the right way, and because you're just gonna be on the hamster wheel, working for somebody for your whole life.
Look, if you can't beat them, join them. It's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, I can be a great fucking criminal. Like, I ain't got arrested for none of my crimes.
Okay, this is being recorded.
Well, I'm so good they don't know what my crimes are.
The feds is watching. The streets is watching.
Yep, and guess what? Shit. Things gonna change. That's all I got to say. Things will change, one way or another.
Let me read Elliot's comments. He said, the issue is so simple. Slaves should have died if true freedom wasn't present. Anarchy over everything. Man, don't talk like that. They're going to get me all. He said, internal monarchy versus external anarchy. And then he says, is the world a true prison? See, don't talk like that, Elliot. I'm trying to keep my show. I don't want to get kicked off. He gonna ignite my fire. He knows. He knows.
That's what I'm saying. Oh no, yeah, he trying to piss everybody off.
No, man, man, at heart, I'm an anarchist, man. That's the closest thing I am to, because I really just want to see it all burn down, I swear, and get some marshmallows, man. And I'm gonna cry tears of joy, man. I swear.
But say, bro, are you prepared just in case?
I'm telling you, I am not afraid, bro. Like, if anybody gonna survive, it'll be me. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. I know how to do everything. I'm a survivalist. I grew up in the country. We talk about it all the time. Yeah, man. I know how to do all that stuff. One of the few things I don't really know how to do is kind of like purifying water. I know about boiling water, but I want to learn more about how you could create your own strainer, like with like charcoal or whatever at the bottom and large pebbles towards the bottom, and then smaller as it goes up, and then like a kind of like dirt at the top, some kind of like sand at the top, and then you pour the water through there and it's going to filter it, and whatever, that's going to be drinkable water. And there's other ways to do stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, and yeah, you can, there's because I've seen this like survival stuff. Like I got books on surviving through the bullshit.
That's the one thing I'm worried about is water. So, but what I would do is if shit really hit the fan, because I've thought about this shit heavily, and people be talking about these fortresses and these like bunkers and shit. At some point you're gonna run out of supplies, buddy. Now what? So, but anyways, my plan, you want to go to somewhere there's a beach, like by the ocean. Rivers are kind of scary because there's going to be a lot of other people on the rivers anyways. But I think an ocean.
We're river people.
River people. No, I'm just saying people are going to be attracted to the rivers automatically. That's fresh water.
Fine. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? The main thing is, you better make them your community, or else just go to war. Go to war with them too.
Yeah, because that's what I'm about to say. When shit hit the fan, if it's anarchy, any other people are gonna be a problem, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You kind of don't want to be. You either want to be in a good, solid community, or you want to kind of slide around with a really small group. And that way y'all could just, lay low. And if you can lay low somewhere close to a water source, like I say, you could get fish, or and fresh water, then shit, you good. You build you some kind of shelter and make it so that it blends in. You don't want, because see, like those fortresses are gonna attract people. If you have a castle, whenever whenever shit hits the fan, you up in the castle, you best to believe that's gonna be the first place people gonna go once they run out of food and shit. They're gonna be like, what they got up in there? Now you can't call the National Guard or whoever the hell, the police or whoever the hell to come save you. The people finna come up in your shit. You ain't got enough bullets. You're gonna run out of bullets. It's more people than you got bullets. You can lay all of them down. They still coming.
Yeah, because I mean, the first places that most people probably gonna really try to attack are like schools and hospitals and, you know, grocery store, you know, like big institutions that probably have some stored resources.
Elliot says, I asked God for truth, and then he said, and it hurts. And you know, that comment, I was thinking about it right now because I'm thinking about it. It's like, you know, the truth hurts. It always does. And then that's one of the things, like, they was watching that movie called The Devil, the people in the elevator. I mentioned it before, but then people are like, the guy is like, you can't never get them to see the error in their ways, their own faults, you know? And then that's what it is. Like, the truth hurts. People don't want to see their own faults. And that's why things just keep on going in the way that they go. Because us as individuals, we don't want to, it hurts too bad. It's that, you know, what is the word for it? It's,
Accept
you know,
fault or what?
Yeah, when you've accepted this belief so wholeheartedly, you're not willing to let it go. It hurts too bad. It's like it's become a part of your, you know, identity. You know what I'm saying? It just hurts too bad, and then you feel stupid because you feel like, okay, I've accepted this that wasn't true. So now you're trying to say I'm stupid. So you're trying to say I'm stupid.
Yeah,
you know.
But at the same time, I mean, I feel what you're saying with that. But at the same time, if you try to accept too much, like if you don't continue going, and you pretty much get stuck in a position where you're like looking for sympathy, or like you're like not, you know what I'm saying, you're not dealing with the reality. Because I think that, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So I mean, if you can flow with it, but at the same time, if you really give in too much, or just say, like, you know, for the majority, I would say that, like, if they accept that they're just totally wrong, a lot of people end up in, you know, like just saying, like, I'm, you know, like, what is it? They're not going to continue doing
cognitive dissonance. That's what I was trying to look for. And you almost said it right there. Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, because you're not going to continue doing the things you need to do if you revel too much in how much you fucked up.
Sucks. So each one of us need to just start, like freaking Michael Jackson said, man in the damn mirror. Elliot says, reverse osmosis concerning water activated charcoal. Yeah, we need to look ourselves in the mirror and try to accept our flaws. I almost named today's show I Was Wrong, because that's what I was thinking about, and I've been thinking about it all day. You know, I've been thinking about it for like 2 days actually. And it's like, you know, thinking about my life and thinking about some of the decisions I've made and some of the things I've said, and, you know, and I'm just taking it in, and it hurts just like what Elliot said. So that's perfect. But I've been feeling kind of down for like 2 days because I just been like, okay, Cheka, you was wrong. So sit on that, dwell on that. You know what I'm saying? For a little while, just kind of, you know, feel it, take that in. You know, and that's what I've been doing. So, because I feel like for me to make a change, for me to make an improvement, for me to go in the direction that I want to go in, then I have to do things different. I can't keep thinking like, okay, so it was my way of thinking that was wrong. This is the conclusion that I came to, right? So, but then for me, but that hurt. It hurt for me to come to this conclusion that my train of thought was wrong. So, you know, for me to do better, to improve it, to go in a better direction, then I got to dwell on that for a minute and figure out how to think about things in a better way so that I can improve my situation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, or just being more open-minded, you know, because I think that's a lot of times our problem is that we think that we're open-minded, but we've shut off so many different options for whatever, experiences we might think that, led us there or whatever. But honestly, like, this is life. Like, none of us come here with a pre-plan. I mean, maybe we do to some extent, but we don't remember it. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much, you know what I'm saying, we came and we live in life as the best we know how at the moment. So, like, you gotta be open-minded to be able to things that you didn't plan or see coming. When something comes, you need to be open-minded enough to say, oh yeah, no, this is it, or to go
Yeah,
with it.
like, well, I was wrong. So it's like,
I mean,
I think,
it's easy, but that's a good thing to take ownership. You know what I'm saying? And self-evaluate and take ownership. I think
Mhm.
it hurts when it slaps you in the face. Especially when somebody calls you out on it, and then you may be angry and go back and forth with them. But when, in all actuality, when you sit back and you actually think about it, you're like, damn, bro, that really is me. You know what I'm saying? But self
Well, I mean,
accountability, man, is
everything is you.
yeah.
You
So
can't blame nobody for nothing but, like, I mean, even when somebody screw you, you got to be like, I trusted them.
yeah, you did
yeah.
something wrong to lead yourself in that situation to be
I,
screwed over by that person.
yeah, I didn't pay enough attention to the movements they were making, because if I had been, I would have I could have clearly saw this. Like,
And I think that people need to do a therapy, or they need to, regularly look and try to find something that they're wrong about. You know what I'm saying? Seek it out. Seek out where you're wrong, because you can't be right about everything. Let me read Elliot's comments. He says, I was wrong is a hard acceptance. Yes, and we need to practice doing it. He says cognitive dissonance was hit hard again. And he says, look up solipsism. I've never heard of that. Solipsism. So yeah, that's SOLIPSISM. Yeah, I've never heard of that. So yeah, fucking he said I was wrong is a hard acceptance, I think we need to spend more time looking for where we could be wrong, and I think that's where we can communicate better, because a lot of the problems with the communication, is us trying to, like, thinking that the other person trying to say I'm wrong, or trying to say I'm stupid, or whatever, mishearing the other person, not hearing themselves, and then you got all of the bickering and fighting in the United States is falling apart, and it's all just a bunch of, like, miscommunication.
well, I think that, with the way you're going, the road you're going down, I think it's kind of the same way I've looked at things for a long time, is that, I may not always know what I want, but I know those things that I definitely don't want. So just to kind of reverse it, it's kind of like, all right, yeah, I don't know what direction, like, I maybe have a direction, but at the same time, I want to succeed, and
But
I
do
don't
you
know
think
exactly
that
what it's going to.
Go ahead.
do you think that you can realize that? And I'm asking this question because I've done this shit myself. Like, is it wrong for you to realize that, hey, I was wrong, like, in a situation, but the person done something so fucked up, you can admit your fault, but you don't fuck with them no longer?
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of realizing you're wrong. To make it right, you have to not on you not, I don't want to say punish yourself, but you have to make the corrections. I don't think that making the corrections is definitely a part of accepting you're wrong. Like, I mean, you don't continue doing wrong just because, oh damn, I did wrong. All right, well, I guess this is my path. No, I mean, you got to do the correction. So I mean, if it means you don't fuck with your mama no more, then you know,
Yes, it's kind of like an apology without changing what you're doing. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like somebody says, this thing that you're doing is really, really bothering me, and I don't like it. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then the next day, like, hey, you did that thing again that I don't like. That's really bothering me. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Next day, you do the same thing. It's like, hey, I don't think that your apology is being sincere because you keep doing it. So like, if you really apologize for what you're doing, then you're gonna think about it and care about my feelings and try to, not do that thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody who really cares will have that type of mindset. But I mean, some people are just sorry that you didn't like what I'm all right. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my bad. Like it's like, okay, it's not that I didn't mean to do what I did, but I'm sorry and it's affecting you that way. I'm sorry it's upsetting you, but like this is this is kind of what I do. This is my job. I fuck people.
And you're supposed to like it, and you not liking it is I got a problem with that.
You liking it is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Like this is my look. You figure out something different. Don't ask me to do something different. Like, oh, it's affecting you. I'm sorry. I'm watering my lawn and some of the water is getting on your grass. Like, look, I still gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really kind of, might seem shady, but it's just how this is reality. Like, I mean, just think about that. The whole water, I'm watering my grass, but some of the water is getting over in your yard too. Okay, I'm supposed to stop watering my grass now because your shit, you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but that's situational. Let me read Ellie's
no,
comment. He says the trivium is a portal. I don't know what that is. And then he says solipsism is the idea that there is no such thing as truth, which is completely false. And then he says that sounds like the repentance ideology. I want to go back to this. The idea that there is no such thing as truth. A lot of people feel like that. Really, they do. Because you know what they say? You know what people always say? Because I'd be like, there's only one truth. They'd be like, everybody has their own truth. And it's like, I'm like,
well,
no.
No. Truth is truth, but I think where it ends up leading to is the fact that like the same water situation is like, there's because is there right and wrong? Because I mean, based on perspective, yeah, I mean, it's messed up that I'm wetting your grass while I'm trying to water mine, but I'm not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like it's subjective.
Yeah, but not truth. Not truth. Truth is not subjective. Like the sun is in the sky, you know what I mean? Like the earth, we're in the universe, the earth is rotating around the sun. Like somebody could say, oh no, the earth is not rotating around the sun, or it's not in orbit or whatever. No, yes it is. Like that's no argument. You know what I'm saying?
No,
if you walk off the side of a building, you're gonna go down to the bottom and you're gonna go splat. And somebody can argue to you about gravity and say gravity is not a real thing or whatever. You can be like, okay, that's fine. But the truth is, if I walk off the side of this building, I'm going to go down and I'm going to go splat. There's no other truth.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, we're talking about, I mean, that's everything that you said was a scientific perspective of it. But we're talking about, actions between people. That's like, it can be subjective. The truth, like, somebody came and bumped you, like they, let's just say you at the edge of a building, the wind blew you over, I mean, but somebody was walking by you at the same time. You can blame the guy. Is it true that he pushed you over, or was it the wind? I mean, it. You don't know. I mean, it could be like
But the
there's certain
truth would
things.
be whatever happened. If the wind blew the guy over, then that's the truth. If the guy pushed him, then that's the truth. There's no room for nothing there. You get what I'm saying? That's the thing that I argue all the time. Be like, there's only one truth. It's like that's it. As far as perspective, people can look at a 8 and call it an infinity symbol, or you know what I'm saying? Somebody can look at a 6 and call it a 9, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's perspective. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is the truth. You know, that's it. There's nothing. There's nothing else. That whole thing about
So
each
every
person
time,
makes.
so every time there's gonna be something right or there's gonna be something wrong, or because I mean, based on who we're dealing with, because truth, you know, like it's hard, you know, like for that argument, because I mean, it's more so when we're looking at right or wrong, where that can be, that's gonna be more subjective,
Yeah. So,
because
but we're not talking about right and wrong. We're just talking about what the truth and not truth. So it's like when people have a one person says this happened and another person says this happened, like a certain thing happened, and then you had two
but
different
it's
people
still
who witnessed it, and it's two different. They have two different stories about the same
because
thing.
their perspective is different, and to them, it's true that somebody pushed them off the building because of
Yeah,
the point of view it looked like to them, and no matter what you say, the truth is somebody pushed him
right.
when
But
he tripped.
but when if you had all the information, if you had the data, and if you was able to look at it from the multiple perspectives, then you'd be able to come up with whatever the hell happened, and whatever the hell happened is actually the truth. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, we're talking about the human element where those perspectives live, and no matter what you say, somebody's gonna argue you to death because they, as far as they're concerned, you pushed them.
Right. So, but that's why I don't like that idea of each person has their own truth. Like that allows it to
No,
be
I don't.
whatever, and
Well,
and
no,
that gives people an excuse to behave badly. And it's all bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's just like the saying where people say never having to say you're sorry. Home is where you never have to say you're sorry. Like where the hell that come from? It's like, okay, so where you don't have to, you go home and you don't never have to like admit when you're wrong or whatever. When you've done something wrong, you have to admit your faults when you're at home. You know, it's like the
yeah.
other one where they say the customer is always right. It's like
Oh hell no.
no.
Usually the customer is wrong
They're more likely to be
because
wrong.
yeah, because they're probably trying to get over, but you know that's the system that was created so that people in business can stay in business. Like they'll find a way, a solution to, allow them to not have to. It, the customer don't have to say that they're wrong. They can just find another solution to, I guess appease the business, and so the business is not at loss, and then it also kind of, the customer can save face and whatever. I mean, it's all perspective. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's really the only argument, because I feel it. I'm with you too. You know what I'm saying? Truth is truth. I mean, I know you've heard my arguments about, like, I mean, transgenders. I don't give a damn how many surgeries you have. You still, like, I don't care what kind of parts you got no more. Because you don't have everything. They only substituting a few parts.
Yeah. They couldn't have did it completely because only God can do that.
Yeah,
Elliot
and the
says,
spirit, and plus the spirit. I mean, your spirit, you at heart, you're a boy. I don't care how much lipstick you put on, how many wigs you trade out.
and your sexual preference don't have nothing to do with that. And
No,
let me read Elliot's comment. He says, truth can and always will be discoverable. And he says, having to teach truth morals shows how much humans have devolved. I swear, I feel like I'm in Babylon every day when I walk around, That's why I hardly talk to anyone. I just kind of stay to myself. They're scary to me. It's like a bunch of zombie robots, and then they're infected, and I don't want them. It's kind of like, you got the zombie part of it where they can infect you with their like mindlessness. You know what I'm saying? And with their roboticism.
well,
Bang.
that is exactly what has happened. Because I mean, they show you these examples of what these things would be like if they really existed, and it's exaggerated. But I mean, bro, if you really just think about how you just explained it, they're mindless, like they're just kind of walking around and infecting people with stupidity or with nonsense or whatever. I mean, these are what you call
fucking zombies.
Yeah. And zombie robots, if you want to go that far.
Yep. Zombie robots, because they're not just zombies, but they also robotic, because they just follow like orders, and they just like, they want to get along, like they want to be accepted by the group. You know what I'm saying? They accept all their downloads from TikTok and Instagram. You know what I'm saying? They go through their life robotic because they do the same things every day. Like, on the weekends I go to the club. You know what I'm saying? During the week I watch Law and Order. At lunchtime I go here. Sometimes I go here. It's every day. It's the same fucking shit.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I mean, and like I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out, bro. Like I don't have a choice. Like, if I don't get up and take my ass to work, where I'm at.
Yep. That's how we know. That's how we know it's like a prison, like Elliot was saying earlier. Because he made a comment earlier. He said, is Earth a prison? What did he say? Is the world a prison?
The world, yeah.
So,
Same thing.
and that makes me think, because I think about a lot of things, because we think about how we don't never see no aliens. And that's really strange. It's so many stars in our galaxy alone, in our little solar system, it's so many possibilities. How come there's no other aliens?
No, I mean, no, they are there. They're out there, but we're so fucking stupid. They're like, fuck them. Like, let's go to whatever the name they, you know what I'm saying? Let's go to this other planet where it's fucking popping.
Because that's what I've been thinking about. Maybe we're just excluded from the intergalactic community. We're in timeout, Y'all not allowed to leave that planet. No,
bro.
Y'all not bringing that.
And they come in like, look. I think it might also be the fact of what kind of vibration you're living in.
Yeah, because that's it. And we're in the third dimension, so we're in a dense dimension. And they're just like, y'all not bringing that low.
No, maybe there's people here on this planet that's vibrating on
different dimension.
That's vibrating at a higher dimension in this same realm. Like,
because dimensions don't exist in different places. It's all in the same space. Even science says that. So so it's totally could be that. Maybe that's why we're like feeling like we're in a prison, because we're in this third dimension and we're all dense, and we're supposed to evolve into the fifth dimension and be less dense. And maybe it's other people that's all
Bro,
free and floating around.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
so much like we're so attached to the body
Yeah.
that
And so
just
afraid to die.
afraid to die
I
or
think
to
we're
explore the fact that, like, because I mean, shit, when you go to sleep, like, shit, you can be anywhere. You can go, you know what I'm saying? Or let's just say, like, even if, I mean, you astral travel,
Astral
it
projection. Yeah.
yeah, all that type of stuff, like, you don't need your body. You can be, like, in other planets while you, when you're sleeping or when you're having those out of body experiences or whatever. So, I mean,
And that's what some people say how the Dogon was able to know, you know, Sirius B and all this, you know, very accurate information about the stars. It's like the stuff that you can't see with the naked eye from Earth, and they didn't have no telescopes and shit. So imagine if people just, like, you know, meditated and, you know, they traveled the stars with their mind in the astral plane, astral projecting,
but
and
just
then
think about this. Do you
aware
think that
enough to write
somebody,
it down.
do you
Go
think
ahead.
that somebody, my like when they was measuring the prime meridian and how to align the pyramids and all these different things, you think all that stuff was just done on paper?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
34.
unless we're gonna give all the credit to non-humans.
Yeah, aliens don't like white people. Anyways, I'm probably about to wrap it, y'all, because I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean that's good because I didn't want to just abruptly leave, but I need to get out of
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah, we could do final thoughts tomorrow. I'm gonna cover the stuff
Man, my
about
day
the
just getting
housing
started. Y'all
crisis.
sound real weak right about now.
Shit, you be rolling until the morning time.
You behind, bro.
You
Hey, look,
roll
look here.
while
Hey,
normal
when
people sleep.
hey, when you was asleep, Pat, turning over, had a little itch on your nut sack and was scratching. I was rolling, god dog it. I was keeping the lights. I was keeping the lights on for you, brother. With this liquid
Look,
hydrogen, I'm hollering.
I appreciate it, but guess what? When you was sleeping, I was leaving smoke
You was
trails.
using solar energy, nigga.
Hey, but wait, before y'all go, because I did want to talk about that, because we were talking about the gas prices. But what about the light bills? Have y'all been paying higher light bills? It's been really hot, and how does that affect the stuff? And
Hey,
the hydrogen?
Let me say this here to you. If you're facing high light bills and your bill is with TXU or Reliant Energy, Constellation Energy is the way to go. I switched to them. My bill dropped from being $350 a month down to $195. The light bill is $144. Texas, New Mexico Power with their bullshit ass service fee is $50. And the $10 tax fee brought my bill to $195. That's still cheaper than $350 a month. Constellation Energy, baby. Look them up.
Yeah.
They
A
in
lot
your
of people
area.
are paying $300-$400, $400 plus a month for lights
That's what
right
I was
now
paying.
in Houston.
That's what I was paying in my apartment, bro, for a well insulated dual pane windows with mirror tint on them. You know, the energy efficient shit. My bill was still running like $350, bro. $350, $400 a month. And we just so happened to go to HEB and walk right past the lady. And on the way out, she was like, I saw you look at me. So I'm finna talk to you and your wife. Y'all come here. And we signed up with them. And we got the first bill, I think, over right after I left the house on Monday, $194, bro.
Well, did you
It's
read
like,
all of the
wow.
paperwork on that shit? Because my cousin used to sell that shit too. And it's like they'll have
There's
you
no
in on a
hidden
set
fee.
rate, and then it's it's gonna shoot up after your
No,
certain
this here
time period.
we're locked in. Of course, you know, like I forget. I have to go through it, but like it's not like how we were with TXU. TXU was getting us, bro. Like as long as we stayed under a certain kilowatt, we were only paying like 12 cents per kilowatt or some shit like that. And once we got over that kilowattage, they were charging us like 24 cents per kilowatt. So they were raping us, bro. Like truly raping us. With this here, your rate does not change.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
most
That
of those contracts are going to adjust over time. So it's just that when you realize it, or when you know, like shit, schedule, put it in your calendar. The contract expires in 2 years or
switch
whenever, and just be ready to just be ready to switch and get you a new plan.
because
yeah.
Texas is the wild wild west with that, because we like so deregulated with that. One of the companies that was providing power got in trouble, and I think they went out of business. And this was really recently, and it's because of the really foul shit that they be doing with this damn just what you was talking about, the damn rate per kilowatt, and just robbing people. Let me read Elliot's comment right quick. He says, "We as a people could take over planet Earth for better overnight, for the better good. Great job tonight, Chaka. I hope we do, man, for the greater good." He says, "My woman has Germain in her blood, so I'm in trouble." Oh, German? I don't know. Yeah, man. So, Pat, what do you think? Had the light bill, electricity stuff haven't been affecting you?
No, you don't remember? I took everything. I moved
Yeah,
out of my crib.
yeah, you
Yeah,
don't have to
like
pay no bills. He free for real.
oh
That's
shit. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean,
because every time we talk about something, you be like, yeah, that don't really affect me. Yeah, I understand y'all
well,
peons got to deal with that stuff, but you know,
Hey, bro,
no,
it still
come on.
affect him because he got a kid, and I ain't trying to put your shit out there, but
Well,
hey, man,
not that. I mean,
really and truly, go
indirectly,
ahead.
I'm sure it does affect me somehow indirectly, because like like I don't have my own personal bill right now because like all my reconstruction plan that I got going, but you know like I said, I mean I'm sure it is indirectly,
Yeah.
So
Pat always talk about, yeah, y'all need to make your own government. See, I don't even submit to the government anyways authority. So like,
you took it, you taking it there. So let me finish it for
Hey,
you.
but real
Y'all
talk though,
niggas do
man.
need to y'all need to, because like I mean that's what they did. That's all they did, and they did it on your land. So now you following them on your own damn land. Like it only makes sense for you to like shit. I would like if y'all like I would join with y'all. Like I know y'all like if we come up with something, because I mean we really it just really doesn't make sense for us to be following our children.
I don't know about y'all peons. I don't have to deal with that. I don't deal with the Roe versus Wade. I don't deal with none of that. The only thing I'm worried about is gas prices. When the gas prices gonna come down? Shit.
Well, I mean, I got to deal with Roe versus Wade because I mean, people like you in my life gonna make me feel bad because I don't give a fuck about it, and you're gonna tell me why I should, and I'm just like, look, they try to kill off our whole generation because of this shit, and the woman damn lied about it, and y'all want to be like, I mean, that case should have never even been tried because she made it up that some black guys raped her, just flat out lied, and you want this to be something that people live by for generations? Like, you want to live on a lie? Like, come on, when we gonna stand up? Like, I mean, you can't make if it's something that we all should have, then you could come up with a different argument on, why it should be a right, a federal right, or go and fight the shit in your own damn state. Like, I mean, I don't know. Hey, look.
Yeah.
I gotta burp myself and go to bed.
All right, man. Like Elliot says, taxation without representation. Pat is bluffing.
How bluffing? How?
I don't know. Taxation without representation. Shit.
Well, and the thing about it is, I have representation without taxation. Now, call me on that one.
I pull that out. See, I don't even pay the taxes, and I still got senators in my pocket. I don't know about y'all.
Well, I mean, bro, what's the highest title on the land? Like, I mean, the people who always been here have more rights than anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna wrap it, y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk about the housing crisis and how it connects to everything, because I kind of wanted to get to that today, but I figured it was gonna be long, so I'm gonna do the whole show about that tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, and look, just one other last thought. Like, just think of our numbers. Like, I mean, just people that's going around that's happy to be second and third or eighth class citizens. Like, I mean, if we made our number, like, just think of even half of us, if 40, 50,000, 30,000 of us, I mean, million of us did hold that. Like, just really think about how quickly things could change for this country
and the world.
And the world, because the rest of the world looks at us. So yes, it wouldn't change the entire world. Craig.
You ain't got a lot, Craig. You ain't got a lot, Craig.
No, that's the security.
Yeah.
Security.
Top flight of the security. Top flight security of the world.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace and love.
Right.
Y'all get y'all some rest. Be back here tomorrow. Same
All
back
right,
time.
Peace and
same
love,
back time.
bro.
All right.
Take it easy.